much would you get paid per?
Your life
per
ain't
person?
worth anything, bro.
No.
Your life is worth probably like what, 250,
How many people do you think you've killed?
more than 70. But I think it's even more than that.
Yes.
This my celly, he grabs the guy's head and he starts.
Fucking hell.
He takes off his head and he's like, "Come on, Smiley, let's go." We get to the basketball court and he's like, "You want to play basketball?"
Oh.
In order to survive, like, you have to be smart.
So, hi guys, welcome back to another episode. We've got a very special guest here, but first, my name's Nico,
I'm George.
and we're here with Ali Gonzalez. So, welcome, Ali. It's good to get you on and speak about your story. You've got a really, really interesting sort of story that we'd love to hear. So let's just go from the start, I'd say. So your early life, right? You growing up in Compton. What was that like at the time?
Well, it's obviously it's gang related, you know.
Mm.
There's a lot of blacks, Mexicans, and you basically stick with your own race. But it's you could say, like, I can say it's, you don't really have a childhood because you're always looking behind your back. You're always trying to avoid getting jumped, you know. But at the end of the day, it's LA, you know. It's Compton.
What age is are you starting to like look behind your back and like check that out?
I've seen kids pull out guns at the age of 8 and like shoot other gangbangers, you know. But usually, like, you start getting a full sense of the danger that you're in, like around 11, 12,
Yeah.
I think. But I've seen young kids that they have nothing else but gang, you know. Like, their parents aren't there. Their parents are probably in prison. Their mom is in rehab, and they're there by themselves.
They've got nothing there for
They
them.
got nothing, bro. Like, I've seen 7, 5-year-olds, like, you know, at 3 a.m. kicking it with the homeboys, and that they grew up with that environment around them.
Yeah, you
So,
grow up fast, don't you, in that
Yeah.
situation?
Do you remember like what your first did you do any petty crimes before it progressed?
Yeah, of course. Like, we would do a lot of home invasion, you know, robbery, like just theft in itself. I've never been a fan of selling drugs, but obviously I've been a fan of getting money. You know, but not selling drugs. You always run the risk that you're gonna get played on. Other people are gonna try to steal what you have, and it's no good. So basically, I grew up in a broken home, so I saw my dad get taken at a very young age, and I saw my mom as well not being able to work because my mom is Mexican. She doesn't speak English. At that moment in time, like, my father never allowed her to work, never allowed her to like integrate into society. So, like, imagine having 4 kids and having the person that's supposed to protect you damage your family and being taken away. I would wake up and I would see my mom crying in the kitchen, in the living room, sitting down because the bills were just piling up, you know. And seeing that obviously affected me in the way that I said, like, you know, I need to get out and I need to get money. So yeah, obviously, like I said, theft, you know, anything from finding a good rich home and then breaking in. Like, we would sometimes go to Beverly Hills, bro. Like, we would go out to Anaheim, we'd go to Santa Monica, and we'd just drive around and find a good area to spot out. And I remember the first things that they would show me how to do was go knock and ask for your friend. And I would go to the houses and knock. And if anybody answered, I'll say, "Oh, is Timmy there?" And no, Timmy doesn't live here. Just move on. But if they didn't answer, then we start looking and start prying open windows, you know.
That's
smart,
actually
yeah.
that's a pretty smart.
Yeah,
smart
because
way-
I'm a youngster, you know. I'm a young kid. I'm around 12, 13.
Mhm.
So it's obviously I don't look the part. We wouldn't dress like I wouldn't dress obviously with baggy pants, just like a normal teenager with a backpack and just go and knock on the doors. And I sort of like we would come up with computers, laptops, and easy money. But I remember like the first times that I would start bringing in money into my mom's house. Like, my mom kicked me out. She's like I ain't, like, you know, like, we were going through a tough time, but like, I can't allow you to influence your brothers. I'm the oldest one. I have another brother and 2 younger sisters. But yeah, that's how life was. I got kicked out and I started living in the streets.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you were homeless, or did like some of your boys?
Nah, yeah, I would sometimes stay with some homeboys, some cousins, or sometimes I would stay at the park,
Yeah.
just kick it, you know.
Yeah. So just on that, obviously you were in. This must have been what, late 80s, early 90s.
Late 90s.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So this was like at the peak of Compton. You know, you had obviously what you would have had NWA around the area, Tupac as
No,
well, right?
NWA was a lot. It's like old
Was
school.
that late 80s?
Yeah, late
Ah,
80s.
okay.
Yeah.
So well, you would have had that sort of
Yeah,
culture
yeah,
there. So
like you grew up with Easy E, you grew up with Tupac,
did you ever see like
But
any?
as Mexicans, you grow up more like with Chicano rap.
Ah,
It's
okay. Okay.
a different culture, but at the same time, like we share the same likes as our black brothers. But there's a lot of racism, bro. Even for us in like Mexicans, there's Mexicans that can't stand black people. Like
Really?
yeah, there's like they can't stand them. I myself have no problem with color of skin. Like I've kicked it with homeboys that are black, and I remember when I was younger, sometimes I was hungry, we didn't have anything to eat, and I had a friend, um, can't remember his name, but uh, me and him, like, he was homeless as well. A black kid from Grape Street. It's a gang. It's called Grape Street. We would go into a Walmart and we would just fill up our stuff. And he's like, you're gonna be the decoy. You're gonna run out and they're gonna chase you. And then the one behind him would carry out
Yeah, with the
like
with the big
with
the big
package.
stuff.
There was always strategy behind it.
Yeah, obviously,
even with
like
the home invasions.
in order to survive, like you have to be smart, like street smart and smart.
So obviously, you know, you grew up fast, and then how did you actually then start, ramping up your crime? So it went from home invasions to then what? Well, what was next? What was?
Obviously, like in the U.S. itself, like you have a lot of gun crime. We know that they're one of the most violent countries because of their leniency towards guns.
Mhm.
So you start obviously you get familiarized with weapons, and there's always problems, bro. There's always like, this gang did something to your
Mhm.
gang, and you go out, and because you're growing up, so you want to earn that respect. Like, I'm down for the gang. So you pick up a gun and you go do drive-bys.
Do you remember the first gun you picked up?
Yeah, it was a revolver, a
Ooh,
380 revolver.
I watch a bit of stuff, and people say that's kind of like the
You know why
that's the
you
one.
know why we use revolvers? Because when you shoot someone, you don't leave
The casing.
the casing.
Oh yeah, it stays in, doesn't it? Ah, okay. So it's like a perfect crime gun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're like, if you do a drive by, you make sure that you shoot from inside the car so that all the casings fall inside.
Okay. Well, if anyone's trying to do a drive-by in the UK, you know how you know how to do
What
it.
age was your first like drive-by, and did you like land your first shot, or was it hard to
Nah,
get them
like
off?
in the US, it's more like you just know that,
just
that the
spray
house is
'em.
there and you start spraying.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's more like yeah, it's like you want to be that gangster, but you're not really that gangster.
yeah,
Still,
like they say in England, like rappers will say like you're aiming at the floor or you're shooting in the sky.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to get the message across, but without
it-
the intent.
It's a complete different thing having to deal with someone like face on, or if that person has something to defend themselves. Completely different, like two different worlds. But yeah, one of my like that obviously, I like the adrenaline. Like my high was using weapons. I've always been a big fan of rifles. Even when I was a young kid, I wanted to be a military. I wanted to join the Marines. But I didn't. I joined something else. But but yeah, like I said, like you get involved with the gang. You start building up your reputation. That like they know that you ain't scared of handling business, even if it means going and drive by in like an enemy's house. Obviously, it's not much. Like you might not kill anybody, or you might hit someone. You might kill them, and you might never find out that you're the one that killed them. And it's funny, like I remember when I was younger, I would see like fights, like gun fights, like we would run into rivals, and like they would start shooting like ta ta ta, and you know, like bro,
Like in the
aim,
movies.
like you would only hear like the bullets flying by, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like it's not the real thing. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's kids trying to play up as soldiers.
So did the gang that you were in at that point, was that how you established the connection with the cartel?
No, no.
No. So
No,
how did
it
you
had nothing to do
establish
with
that
that.
connection?
So I belong to a gang called Florencia 13 from Compton. Um, but in my time in that gang, obviously I was growing up. I was at around the age 14, 15 when I started doing more serious crimes. It got to the point where your name is on a piece of paper, and you're no longer able to live in the city because of the like the reputation that people are trying to get you for what you've done before, you know. And I'm talking about like stabbing people, you know, beating, like getting into fights, jumping people, knocking people's teeth out. It's more like I think it's the more violent you are in the streets, the more respect you get. And if you don't want to be picked on, then obviously you gotta. Especially I'm a short person, right? But that's not gonna stop me from getting down with a taller person or a bigger person. I'm not scared. I've always been taught like it's better for you to get your ass whooped than for you to back down of a fight. And I actually I respect that a lot more from for the U.S. Like they're more about like if you have a, if you want to squabble with someone, if you want to fight, like it's I respect that from them. Like they like to fight. In Mexico, it's not. It's there's not a lot of fighting.
Yeah.
There's more shooting and cutting
Shoot,
people. You know?
yeah.
And I see here there's not a lot of fighting. It's more
Stabbing.
snipes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get select people that would like to throw down, but it's rare now. Like everyone's, no one's like got the balls to like
Exactly,
do it.
you know?
Mate. They're all coming with weapons and that, and obviously everyone's gonna run from a knife if they only got their hands.
Bro,
like,
it's,
come on.
like you ain't stupid. You ain't gonna stay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You ain't gonna try swing with someone that's got a machete. Are you?
Of
Like,
course not.
fuck that.
Fuck that. Get
Yeah.
your head cut off, mate. That's peak.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
the recruitment.
So
Yeah,
I
go
started
on.
getting into trouble. Obviously, at a very young age. I dropped out of high school, and I ended up deciding, like thinking for myself. Like other homeboys would tell me, like, "Hey, don't step on the gas pedal too much, because you're gonna end up crashing your car. You know, end up running out of gasoline." He's like, "You should try to look for another life. Like if obviously you can't be here anymore, then why don't you try something else? Try moving." And in my brain, my ignorance, I'm like, well, I should go back to Mexico, bro. I had no idea like what was Mexico in that time, you know.
Would you have done it in retrospect? Would you have?
I wouldn't change anything that I've done in
Yeah.
my life, bro, because
Fair.
I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think it made me a lot. It made me appreciate a lot of things, like obviously living in a place like Mexico. Is you got rural areas. It's like it's most before back in the day, like it was the early 2000s when I moved back to Mexico. You could say it was a third world country, you know. But in reality, like the news in itself, it wasn't that big on cartel violence.
Hmm.
So my great idea was like, why don't I just head back to Mexico and try to make a life, you know. I was an ignorant kid, bro. I was 15, 16 when I started thinking like that. And it got to the point where obviously you no longer feel comfortable in the area you're in, even though you got respect. Like you know that they're headhunting you, and why stay, you know? So and obviously you see your friends, like my close friends, most of them get killed, most of them end up in prison, and they're doing life because obviously they get caught with guns. Like the it's like here you do a crime. I've seen here the UK, they're their investigative, like their police work is actually pretty good. Like they'll get to you straight away.
Yeah.
You know, if you get lucky, you get away. But in the U.S. is the same. Like they're very specific on gun crimes, and I didn't want to get caught up with that, so I'm like, I'm gonna head back to Mexico. And I decided to head back to Mexico, bro. And yeah, life was different, bro. Like I get the wake up call when I'm in Mexico, and I start realizing there's no hot water, there's no drainage.
Different world, isn't it?
Bro, it's like I would see other people that had lived, like I lived all my life in the U.S. So for me it was difficult, but at the same time I had to deal with it and adapt to it because I didn't have any way to go back to the U.S. But I would see like people that would get deported from the U.S. like they would go mad, bro. They would start crying because they're not used to hard life, you know. So when I came back to Mexico, I went to a small state. It's a state called Guerrero.
Hmm.
It's a very rural place. It's very poor.
That's where it was all happening at the time, wasn't it?
No.
Really?
Guerrero is I think you're misunderstanding with Sinaloa.
Okay.
Yeah, Sinaloa
Alright.
is the capital of most of the
Oh,
organizations.
okay.
They always have to. They end up coming. It's more how can I say? It's a geographic thing.
Okay.
The area there is very fertile for drug growing, for cropping.
So it is. What region is Sinaloa in? Is
It's called the Triángulo Dorado, the Golden
Okay.
Triangle.
okay. Yeah.
So
okay.
Guerrero is just south to that.
Okay.
So like living there and having to work, like work is hard, bro. Like work is something else, and I myself was like, man, like where the hell did I end up coming, you know? But I had to adapt. But at the same time, like it was hard because like you get basically no money, and the money that you get, it's crap, bro. It's crap. So I started clicking up with some people that would rob, like they would rob transport. And I started doing that, you know, and I saw that that it wasn't leaving a lot of money, and you would hear about cartels, but I wasn't still like 100% involved with them.
Hmm.
I moved to another state, and that's where I start learning about you can get paid for killing people. So that's when I started killing for hire.
What was your weapon of choice?
9 millimeter.
9 mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how much would you get paid per
Your life
per
ain't
person?
worth anything, bro.
No.
Your life is worth probably like what 250
Fuck.
$250.
pounds. Yeah,
Pounds.
like 200
Yeah.
pounds.
Jesus Christ! Really? At the
Yeah,
time, just
yeah.
250 quid. Go.
Would that go quite far in where you were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
like
like a month.
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was proportional for the time.
But it depends. Like obviously you once you get involved in the game, like you do get hired. You get hired to do. Um, it depends on the person, you know. Like if they hire you to kill a politician,
Hmm.
then obviously you're gonna get a couple grand for that.
Is that
Fucking
it?
hell, a couple
Fucking
grand.
hell. So like you said you didn't want to like sell drugs. So did you have that option on the table as well? Was it like I can sell drugs or I can be a hitman? Was there two options on there?
Uh, I met I got close to a homeboy from Border Brothers, that's in San Diego, and I met him there, and I remember seeing him for the first time. He was bald. He was dressed like a like an OG, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember I looked at him. I'm like, this homeboy's from the States. So I go up to him. I'm like, where you from, Mister? And he's like, I'm from Border Brothers, homie. And like he heard me speaking English, and he's like, nah. He's like, I'm gonna show you some homie love. And he brought out like a half a kilo of marijuana. I used to smoke a lot of marijuana, and he pulled a lot, like just grabbed a bunch. He's like, here, you can have it. And I started clicking up with him. Like he became a really close friend.
Early
And
Christmas.
I knew that he was the one. Like he was a drug dealer. He would sell crystal meth, cocaine, heroin, and marijuana, and that's how I started seeing how things were. And like I would obviously I'm not stupid. Like you could see what like the first people that die, bro, are drug dealers in Mexico. Those are the first ones that you're gonna catch, because you catch them for information, like who's your supplier, you know. So those are the first ones that get picked up, tortured, and I was like, I ain't doing that.
Hmm.
So I had the opportunity, but I was like, nah, it's not worth it. Like you make money, but you don't make that much money, you know.
Okay.
Unless you're moving tons of cocaine, of heroin, then you're making money. But even though even though you do that, you run the risk that the U.S. is gonna put out a warrant for you. The Mexican government is gonna be on the lookout for you. So you make money, but you don't have a life. So what's the point of going big?
Yeah.
So I've never been attracted to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, is it even so where you're at? There's the cartel are there. Are you even able to be like a street dealer, or does everything just go through the
No,
cartel?
you could be a street dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, imagine all the drugs are moving to the north. Whatever falls down,
Yeah.
that's what they're selling there.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, like the waste that they don't want to send to the U.S., like they'll sell it in Mexico. So like the marijuana, like the chronic, the good Kush, they'll send it to the U.S. And whatever stress is left, like whatever is not good for the transport, they'll sell it off to street dealers.
Yeah, because it'll be cheap. Yeah, it'll be cheaper, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not you wouldn't make as much money from it in America. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you then started in the cartel, so it was straight into being a hitman, or did you have to build up?
I signed up straight to start cleaning.
Mhm.
Do you remember your first job? How do they approach you with the job? Like, do they give you an information list or
I
what?
was working as a truck driver for a warehouse, and they were paying me. Actually, they were paying me like 50 quid a week,
Yeah.
50 pounds a week,
50 a week.
from 6 in the morning to like 6 in the afternoon.
Fuck that.
For 12-hour shifts. Wow.
And like I was getting tired of it, bro. Like I would see how like they would try to like obviously the way that they treat like the owners of the warehouse, they would treat you with disrespect. They would humiliate you, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I know I'm better than to be here and let him talk to me like this. So one day I decided to quit. I'm like, I'm done with this shit. I went to my homeboy and I asked him, I'm like, hey, can you give me a number to the cartel? I want to work. He's like, what do you want to work at? So I'm like, that's what I'm good at. Like I wanna work. He's like, yeah, I'll give you the number, but just think about it, think about it, because once you're in, it's different. It's different. And I remember that day when I asked for the number. I went to work the next day, and I was arguing with my boss. I'm like, you know what, fuck you. And I threw the keys at him. I'm like, I'm gone, and I left, and I went to the cemetery of the town where I was living. I went to the back of the cemetery, and I was rolling up a weed blunt, and I was smoking it, and I was thinking in my head, like, if you make this call, it ain't going back. Like you better be certain that you want this life, or else you're not gonna survive. It's just true. If you don't like think about it, like there's no like, oh, you jump in right now and later you want to be like, nah, I don't want this no more. Nah, you're marked.
You either in or you're out.
So I thought about it, and I remember I smoked it, and I was just thinking to myself, and I was playing every scenario that could happen to me. I was thinking I'll jump in today, 2-3 months, I'm decapitated. My body is thrown in the streets, or maybe I get caught and I'll get sent to prison. I was thinking about all the possibilities that were obviously that were on the table.
And you were still like, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, but at the end I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go in. Like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this right. Like, fuck it, I'm not about to be a nobody. So yeah, I made the phone call, and the guy's like, have you ever used a weapon? I'm like, yeah, I've used it. Have you ever? I'm like, yeah, well, I've shot at people, and because I had done that in the U.S. I've never been, I was never like. A lot of people when I hear them telling the story on how they've killed their first people, like, oh, I was nervous, like, like, nah. For me, it's like it came naturally. Because I knew that the other person, if it wasn't me, it was them. Because if they catch you in the street, like if they catch you slipping, they're gonna shoot at you no matter what. So I spoke to the person that was in charge. I'm like, yeah, like I've experienced, I'm not a newbie. He's like, all right. He's like, he basically told me, he's like, you're gonna go to this city and you're gonna pick up this car at this location. You're gonna open the door and the keys are gonna be in the glove compartment. It's like in the back seat, there's gonna be 2 rifles, an Uzi, and 2 handguns. It's like then you're gonna drive to this location. You're gonna get. They're gonna meet you there. Someone's gonna be waiting for you to arrive there. You're gonna drive him to a location. You're gonna pick up 4 other more people, 4 other recruits, and then you guys are gonna drive to another city to stash yourself in a safe house. It's exact like you never see the people that you're working for. Well, you do, but at the beginning, that's how you start. So in order for them to trust you, you need to win their trust. They're not stupid. They're not just gonna allow someone to jump in and like hang around with the bosses or anything like that. Nah, they want to see what you're about. So yeah, I picked up the car. I was like, all right, let's go. Yeah.
And then
you go to a city and you stash yourself. You cool down. You start. They send you, obviously, they send you information on targets, on objectives that they want you to reach. But at the same time, like, I wasn't stupid, like at the city or the place where they would send me, I would go scope it out. I would go drive, spend a whole day driving up and down, trying to memorize like the streets where I can go, like, shortcuts to the safe house, everything. Try to learn just the and I was doing this by my own intelligence. And as soon as we get a call, like I would have been there like a week, 2 weeks. We hadn't worked. We were just chilling there, waiting for a call. For most of the times, they'll set up people. Like they'll have someone following someone, and then he'll call the boys, like, hey, he's at this place. You can get him. Come down, and you just go down and you execute them.
How do you identify though? Like, have you ever got the wrong guy?
In one occasion that happened, but that was later on. Like, obviously, you can't ask, like they'll give you an objective and you can't ask them, oh, why am I gonna kill him? They ain't gonna, like, they're gonna be like, like, who are you to question what we're telling you to do? But most of the time, like you would know, like, in the information that you're getting from the people that are on top of you, like, they'll let you know, oh, he's the one in charge of the distribution of drugs in this location, so you know why you're going after him.
And did they give you like a photo or?
So the person that's identifying him, like, let's say you're across the street, you're the one that's identifying the person that you're gonna kill. You're the one passing the information to the guys that are coming down. Hey, he's wearing this pants. He's wearing this. You give him basically the characteristics of how he's dressing. You come down. You first. What I would tend to do is I would come down, like make sure that's the objective, and turn around and start leaving people. So I would leave, like, let's say, I would leave someone at the entrance of that street, and I would leave someone at the exit, and I would tell them, if you see any government coming in, just give us the heads up. And then I would park like 2 blocks away, get off, walk with the person, and just come up to him and execute.
Wow, so you were like a pro, like you.
Yeah, that's why I started winning. Like, I won my reputation in the cartel, because, like, people wouldn't last. Like, they would get recruits, and most of these recruits were like, they feel bad because they got a gun, and they'll start messing around, like, with their own people, like the people that they're around with, like the people that live around them. Like, they would try to act bad, act gangster, and it's not about acting gangster. Like, real gangsters ain't gonna act. They're just gonna execute, and they're gonna do what they gotta do.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. You know, when you've got like 4 recruits in a car, so like, are they coming with you while you like gaining all the knowledge the day before and stuff, or are they just sat on the safe
sometimes you'll
house?
take one. You'll take you'll how you say it? They'll take turns coming.
Yeah.
Like, they'll take turns.
So like the
coming
word
with
probably got out there, like you're doing something different to
So
what everyone else.
what
is, you know?
happened was that, like, we had already done a couple of jobs, but the recruits weren't executing. Like, I would tell them, like, hey, you want to do it? And he's like, nah, I'll look out. And I was the one going and having to do it. So there was this specific occasion, we got sent to a football match, and the person in charge of the city was there with his entourage, and they were packing guns and everything. And we got there, and I got off the car. And I'm like, I'm gonna go identify the person, and once I've identified him, I'm gonna come back and I'll tell you guys what to do. So I go buy myself a smoke, and I'm on the cage like that, and I turn around and I see his entourage, and I see them, and they're looking at me because obviously they know that they got problems with the cartel. They're rival cartels, and I look at them, and I'm like, and I just walk back, and I'm like, hey, he's there. He has people around him, and those people are armed. So as soon as you guys get there, don't think about it. Execute whoever you see moving strange, hit them. They went and they came back shaking, bro. They're like, as soon as we got there, like, he's like, his entourage got up and he flashed us with his gun. I'm like, bro, like, you're a hitman. Like if he flashes you with the gun, kill him first. Like, he's already telling you, you know, like, it's only people that try to intimidate, like, only bullies are gonna show you what they're packing. Nah, if you show me what you're packing, you're dead to me. I'll kill you and I'll take whatever you have. So they came back and they're like, we can't. And I got pissed at them. I called the person in charge. I'm like, hey, like, these people that you send me, they're garbage, man. They can't do anything. So they're like, send them again, and if they don't execute, we're gonna deal with them. So I turn around and I drive the car behind them, and I drop 2 of them off, and I'm like, execute them from this side. Like, don't come from the same side that you guys just left. They get off and they start getting into a gunfight. Like, the guy found, like, the guy, he was already, like, smelling that there was danger. So as soon as the guys get off, like, they start getting into gunfight. Everybody starts running. The guy that we were looking after, he runs across the street, and I see him from the car, and I'm like, oh, it's my time, and I drive and I start following him. He was trying to get to his to where I guess his security house was, because he was trying to get some weapons. And I drove up to him, but, like, I'm going slow. I'm not even trying to, like, scare him off. Like, I see him. He's on his phone. He's trying to walk. And I have one of the guys behind me, and I'm like, hey, as soon as we pull up to him, like, shoot him. He had an AK-47 behind, like, in the car. He was, like, laying down this way, and I was driving. And the guy hid behind a tree, and he was calling. You know, he was making some phone calls. And I passed the speed bump, and I'm like, shoot him. And that, like, he took forever to shoot him. And when he does shoot him, he shoots him in the leg. And the guy gets up and he starts screaming, like, ah. And the AK-47 jammed on the guy. And he started panicking. He's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I pull the handbrake and I get off and I take the AK-47 from him and I'm like, bah! I point at him, bah! I go up to him and it jammed again. The stupid AK-47 didn't work, so it jammed again, and the guy was still like trying to he was trying to I shot him in the back, so like he was having trouble breathing because I'm pretty sure like his lungs were collapsed. But the gun wasn't working, so I turned around the gun and with the butt of the gun I stomped on his head.
Fuck.
And the gun it completely just
broke.
Yeah, it didn't break. It just on how do you say it? What's the English word?
It just came apart.
It just came apart.
Yeah.
And I picked up the pieces and I got in the car and I threw them in the back, and I drove away. I just drove onto the other to the main road and I parked and I smoked. And the guy was like, he's like, hey, we need to go home. Like we need to go home. I'm like, chill, bro.
Let me finish my zoot, man.
I'm like, I need to make sure. Like I told him, like I need to make sure that he's dead.
Yeah,
Once we start seeing that the government comes and like like there's a specific vehicle that comes for dead people in Mexico. It's not the ambulance. We'll leave. And he's like, how can you be so chill here? I'm like, because I have to pretend like I don't know what's going on. If I leave the crime scene like at full speed and I'm swerving it, that's just like
hide in plain sight, right? Like you're hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
But also like you gotta confirm that kill, because if not, he's gonna come back harder, and you've got to tell that information, right?
Yeah. So as soon as the job gets done, I get back. The two guys that we left on the other side, they're lost. We know where to be found because they get into the gunfight, and I leave them behind. I go after the objective. I call the person in charge, and I explained to him, I'm like, bro, like this is what I had to do, all because of the people that you sent me. Like these people are they're not good at working, and I wasn't the type of person that was like, you know what, like let them find out how to come back home. Nah, I stashed everything. I got anything that could incriminate me. I left it at the house, and I told the guy that was with me, I'm like, stay home. I'm gonna go look for the other guys. I go back out and I'm looking for them, and like you can see, like there's checkpoints, like there's the cops are back and forth trying to look for the people that did the crime, and I'm there chilling looking for the people. And I find them and I take them back home, and then they call us to the ranch, like where the person in charge of us was, and they took them and they hanged them, like the other three guys, they hanged them. And they took off their clothes, so they were hanging naked, and you know, like with the cricket bat, you know how a cricket bat is. Yeah. So we basically have that same version, but it's like a bat that we use to spank people. So you drill holes in it, so that when you swing it, it doesn't catch air, and it hits you with the full intention. And they spanked them. They left their butts all black, pitch black.
Fuck yeah.
Like while you're spanking them, they shit themselves.
Really?
What?
Jesus Christ.
That's how, like, and like you see, and they're grown men, like they're men, and you hear them crying like little girls. Yeah. I've never got spanked, I swear, bro. I just see
You'd
it.
rather die, right? Fuck that shit.
Like they're not gonna kill you because obviously you're working for them, but they will discipline you, and that's one of the common disciplines that you get in the cartel. It's called tabliza. It's basically spanking. But imagine being a grown man and being forced to pull down your pants and get spanked with the bat.
And then shit yourself.
You got no option there, eh? Well, so what would you have to do to actually get, dealt with, like you say, killed? By, if you're working for them, what would, like, snitch?
Bro, I've
right?
seen I've seen, like, well, snitching, but basically most of the time, betraying the people that you're with, or stealing from the cartel. Like, let's say the cartel entrusts you with 10 rifles, and you decide, you know what, I'm gonna sell 5, and I'm gonna tell them that the government raided me and I was only able to save 5, and then they later find out, oh, he sold the guns. You're gonna get dealt with pretty quick, you know. Yeah, mostly stealing and taking money from the cartel, especially drug money. Like sometimes you get kilos of cocaine, and people don't pay, and they think that, oh, it's fine. Like they don't even know where I live. They'll find you. That was my job, to find people. So it was.
Oh, so you also found like internal sort of like snitches and stuff.
What I'm talking about right now is at my beginnings, like my first beginnings. I was probably like 19. I'm 32, so that was like the beginning of like me wetting my feet in the cartel.
Fuck! So it got more intense than the fucking hell.
That's nothing. So that was like my first experience with urban warfare, like because there's. the way that you fight in the city is different from the way you fight in the mountains. You see? In the mountains, it's more like it's more rebel type, like the Taliban, like the rebels in Yemen. You know, it's like you're fighting government, you're fighting other cartels that are as well equipped and have the same amount of gunfire. Yeah.
And then in the city, it's just like
The
just
city is you have to be smart.
firefights.
Yeah, it's you have to be smart, and it's mostly in the city. We work with bikes, with bikes because it's easier to but it's dangerous as well as dangerous because one small mistake on the bike and that's done. Because
Yeah.
most of the times you're going to a rival's territory, so if you get caught and they're paying off the government, you won't get taken to prison. You'll get taken to the rivals, and they'll deal with you. And that's when you get tortured, you get decapitated.
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
So how many jobs? Well, essentially, how many people do you think you've killed?
I said this in Lad Bible, and a lot of people were like, I said more than 70, but I think it's even more than that.
Yeah. So like,
But at the end of the day, like you have to account for the people that you've ordered to get murdered. You know, so like sometimes like, so when I started working for them, I was working like a team leader, but then I started moving up. So now like you still take care of business, but most of the time you're sending people to take care of business. So we have a saying in Mexico, like it's the same person that killed the cow, like the same person that stabbed the cow is as well to blame for the person that was holding his leg. So
Okay.
in like I would even like from prison I would make hits like from the outside.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
So what was kind of like the pay difference from like you starting to then you being the one who was ordering the killing?
Obviously you get the pay difference is different because when you start you're just a foot soldier. Even as a team leader, you get the same amount of pay as the rest of the people that are with you. The only thing that you're getting is respect, and you're getting like your paperwork is getting filled. You know, like later on they'll have more trust in sending you to a different location because they know that you're capable of managing a team, but the pay is basically the same. At the same time, once you start moving up and you start becoming a lieutenant or a captain, then the wage is different because now you're dealing with the people that are in charge of the whole state. So let's say you're in a team leader. That team that you have, that Ford team, there's probably like 100 more of your same cartel, but you have no connections with the other team. You don't even know who they are, you know. So your connection is only the person that's in charge of you. He's in charge. He's connected with another person that's in charge of those like that region, and he's connected to a person that's in charge of the whole state. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the pay difference is a lot. It's a lot better, but it's still not. It's not that much, bro.
Mm.
It's not that much. It's probably like, let's say, you were getting like 100 pounds a week for being a foot soldier.
Mm.
100 pounds a week. So they say like 500 pounds
Okay.
a week for being.
Okay. That's
but-
still much better though.
but-
That would
but-
get you a long
yeah.
way.
But that's like people think like yeah, that's the only thing you do, but that's not the only thing you do. There's kidnapping, bro. There's extortion, because obviously you're under the banner of a cartel.
Yeah.
You use that to your advantage, and you might go to a gas station and speak to the owner of the gas station. Like, you have to pay this amount of money. Yeah, the extortions are like anything from like 1,500 pounds to 2,000 pounds. I've seen people get kidnapped for a lot of money. Like the organization recruits its money from kidnapping and extortion.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
like you extort people that have money, and they tend to pay a lot of money, like hundreds of thousands of pounds. But that you might extort that from them, but you don't keep that for
Yeah.
yourself.
Okay.
So if the boss gives you permission, you'll just pinch a little bit off, and you'll send it to the bosses.
Okay. Okay. So I just want to kind of take it back a little bit. I've got like two things in my head that I want to kind of ask you. So when you were obviously when you were doing these hits, right? Surely you had like some sort of channel to disassociate with, everything that was happening and you were doing. So would you be using weed to do that? Like, would you just like smoke afterwards and then kind of just like, okay, I'm chill, forget
Bro,
about
to
it?
be honest, I try to avoid doing any type of drugs while we were working, because you gotta be 100% there in what you're
Mm.
doing. Because if one mistake can cause your life,
Mm.
you know.
Okay.
So like when we would hunt other people, like other rivals, a lot of cartels they'll pay their soldiers with heroin, with crystal meth, cocaine, and they're easy to spot. Like you could spot someone that's addicted to meth. You could spot someone that's addicted to crack cocaine. I see that's very popular here.
Yeah.
Crack cocaine.
Oh,
Everyone, yeah, everyone's taking that.
But like
Yeah.
you see them and you don't even have to ask them. You know
Yeah, you can
that
tell,
you can
yeah.
tell.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing in the cartel. Like when you're hunting someone else, like you can tell if they're using, and you'd be like, yeah, these are good guys, and they're easier to track down.
Would the cartel ever use that to their advantage? Would they like, they get an addict off the street and like go, I'll give you what you need to run your addiction, and then you work for me.
Yeah, but they don't last long.
Okay.
They're like
It's a big turnover rate, probably, isn't there? Like, probably. Well, how much would they last? Like, couple weeks, couple months?
yeah, I probably like weeks, months,
Wow.
even less, because a drug addict is he starts to distort things.
Make a mistake, right?
Like just like distort things in the way like you'll be driving and the drug addict will be like they're following us, and like he'll have his gun and like any small movement he'll probably shoot at them and you'll get in trouble, you know.
Yeah.
But I have dealt with a lot of people that were like heavy users of crystal meth, and it's crazy.
Mm.
But no, only once like I was doing this job, I did this job, and like I woke up and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna wake and bake. I start smoking, bro, and I'm like, nah. I think because I was thinking to myself, like, I don't think we're gonna work in the morning. We'll probably get called in the afternoon, if anything, and I won't be high anymore.
Mm-hmm.
While I was smoking, I get the phone call, bro. I was like, fuck, man. And I go set up everything, and my hands were sweating, bro. I was so nervous. I was just panicking. I told my homeboy, like, hey, you take care of it, bro. He's like, nah. He's like, you got the 45. I had a 45 APC. It's a higher caliber than a revolver. He's like, you got the 45. Hit him with the 45, because the 45 is like close range. If you wanna sit someone down, you hit him with the 45. He ain't gonna get up. You know, it's a big caliber and it's good at close range. You ain't gonna use it at 10 meters, 20 meters. You won't hit anybody. So I had a 45 and he had a revolver, and he's like, no, you hit him with the 45. He's like, it's gonna be easy. And I was like, man, I do the job, and as soon as I do the job, I booked it. Like I left them way behind. I was so nervous and like, so I was panicking so much that I got to the car and I'm like, let's go. He's like, where's the other guy? I'm like, where is he? The other guy, he was barely coming. He's like, bro, why are you leaving behind? I'm like, I'm high, bro. That was the last time I was like, I'm good. I ain't smoking while I'm working.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's just a
It's
common...
such a serious
yeah.
job.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
don't want to be fucking about with anything that can, disrupt it. Like you can't
Like
be making
I
mistakes.
saw that a lot of people that would join, they'd say like YOLO, you only live once, and like they'd
And
be
then
drinking,
die.
and they end up getting killed.
So the film Sicario, you ever seen the film
Yeah.
Sicario? So how accurate was that in general, and how, if it was accurate, how similar was that to the life you were living?
But Sicario is more based on the feds.
Mm-hmm.
If you pay attention to it, it's
Yeah,
more
yeah,
based
yeah.
on the feds.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
it's
as in like
it's-
the whole environment is it accurate? Would you say, or is it very dramatized?
you could say it's accurate, but at the same time, like, do you remember the scene where they come in a helicopter and the cartels are driving some old pickups?
Yeah.
And they're hell no, you ain't gonna get no one like that, especially a big boss. Nah, they're gonna have some machine guns on top, mounted on a brand new Raptor.
Fucking hell.
No, like because you're not gonna carry a pickup, a rusty old
No.
pickup like the one. Like when I saw it, I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It's not realistic. But in terms of like the tunnel, the way that like that's very accurate. Like
Yeah?
the tunnel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's when they're having the firefight in the tunnel, and then they come out, and then the police officer's there, and he's obviously, okay. So that's quite interesting, because that's something that I really wanted to ask you. And would you say that's the most accurate one out of all those films about
Narcos.
Narcos is accurate.
Narcos is very accurate.
Specifically the one where they do it in Mexico as well with Felix Gallardo, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was not part of. Was he part of Sinaloa?
He was the forefathers of the Sinaloa.
Okay. Did you ever meet any of the big bosses?
I've met big bosses from now.
Okay.
That weren't in those times. I've been in the same in the same location, because sometimes they'll throw parties, like when it's the boss's party, like when it's his birthday, he'll call out all his people, and he'll gather like it's 10,000 people, and like they're partying. There's cocaine. There's alcohol. There's women, and like you know that the boss is there, and like you probably see him, but you won't go and it's
So it's something that like is in a space.
I've met other bosses that are from other cartels, and I've shaken their hand because I've made deal with them, and they've contracted me to work for them. But they have active warrants in the U.S. Like they're for one of them they're giving $10 million. $10 million for his arrest, and his brother. There's two brothers. They're the leaders of a cartel called La Familia Michoacana.
Okay.
The FM. Yeah. But they work with the Sinaloa as well. They're at the end of the day, like all the cartels that do work, there's only two sides basically. Two sides. They all have to work in hand to hand, because how the drugs move, the drugs arrive at ports. So even if the Sinaloas are in central Mexico, they have to have a branch of organized crime down in the south, protecting those ports. Yeah, so they work. There's a lot of arrangements, like there's a lot of your enemy is my enemy, that type of arrangement.
Okay.
And while you work with me, I'll support you with people. I'll support you with money. I'll support, like, if you need like that kind of arrangements. You're two different organizations, but you have treaties basically.
Okay, so where it's kind of like a ceasefire between you guys, and then you guys help each other out.
Yeah, and you focus on other guys.
Okay, so you'd obviously go to like the people that actually were in the port city, like the organizations that were in the port cities, and just make a deal with them. Be like,
they make a deal with them, and
we need to get our stuff through. Okay, fair. All right, okay, that's like. There's quite a different sort of outlook, and it does make sense. Obviously,
right now it's most of the drugs that come like to here. An example here, the UK, Spain, submarines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, submarines.
Okay.
Yeah, even to Australia, submarines.
There was a big one that got stopped, like I think a year ago. It had like some shit.
Yeah.
He's on the way to Spain.
But those are like those are the big boss, the big ball players.
Yeah.
Recently, did you hear about what happened in the Manchester airport?
No.
That this old lady got caught with like a million pounds of cocaine. She was trying to. She was on a one of those chairs that wants to have the motor. What are they called?
Yeah.
For
like mobility scooter.
Yeah, right? Yeah. One of those mobility scooters she had back here. Those are small players compared to what the actual bosses of the organizations do.
Yeah, she's just trying to make a quick flip for someone else.
Yeah, for someone else. But like the people that actually sponsor these wars, like the wars that are occurring right now in Mexico between. There's two cartels. I don't know if you've heard El Mencho. You've never heard him? No. It's a cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación.
Okay, Jalisco, yeah.
Jalisco is a big rival of the Sinaloa.
Okay.
So between like those two, their main head of the operation, like they move drugs through submarines, because that's how much money they're making out of the drug trade.
How do you get a submarine over from Mexico to like Europe? That's crazy. Like obviously if it's gonna have to be like it's like makeshift, isn't it?
It'll be worth like billions of submarine probably.
Have you seen, Vanilla Ice, right?
Yeah.
The rapper.
Right? Yeah.
So he used to he used to hang around with Pablo Escobar. He didn't even know that it was Pablo Escobar in the time, but he was talking in his interview. He was telling them that Pablo Escobar was looking into obtaining a submarine, and he's
that
like,
was way back.
That's how much money he had.
I've seen this interview with him, but wasn't it like didn't like?
I think it was Vlad TV.
Weren't they like partying in his house?
Yeah.
Like wasn't he partying with Pablo Escobar? He
didn't know.
That's fucked up. So like when shipments come in and they get caught, like there's loads happening in like Southampton or whatever on the docks, right? Are they always like the little thing they want to get caught and the bigger shipments coming, or like what's happening there?
I don't
Or are
think
they just able to take the loss and be like, let's just go again?
Well, obviously they know that they have a risk of losing whatever they're taking, but
My question is like, do they ever do like dummy shipments? You know, like a fake shipment.
I've seen that in the border
Okay.
with the U.S. They do that in the border. Like they'll send a dummy car with less material, and behind it the big boy
Mhm.
with all the material. But I have no idea about what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
So going back to your career, like, well, career innit? Like, what was it when you were at like your height of it? Were you like indulging in the women, the partying and stuff, or did you always just stay focused on
Nah,
the
yeah,
job?
you get involved with women.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you got money, you got.
Was that like a kryptonite in some like was that like a bit of a thing that
Well,
you
yeah.
know, because women can set people up, you know, like it's a risky play.
Yeah, you obviously you don't involve her in what you're doing, but you do have like you have to have one in every town.
You sneaky link.
That's what you have to do because you can't really have a life. You can't say, oh, this is gonna be my girlfriend, because they might use that against you. Your own cartel might use that against you.
Yeah. So.
I've seen things go south for a lot of people, and they end up losing their families. Like their families pay the price for what they've done.
Really?
Like they might book it, but the families are the ones left behind. And
Christ,
Yeah.
that's mad.
Yeah,
So-
because I heard you say like you never actually like never killed someone's mum or anything like
know,
that,
but
but there will be people doing that all
oh,
the time.
bro, there'd
right?
be people
Yeah.
that's crazy.
like there's people that are involved in that in that environment that they don't like. They'll see you in the street 1 a.m. They'll pick you up, and they'll plant drugs on you, and they'll take a picture, and then they'll execute you, and they'll send that to their bosses. Oh, we found this guy. He was selling drugs. You might be an innocent person, but there's people that are sick-minded in that way, that they don't care. Like what they want to do is they want to cause fear. So they would what I would see, like they would pick up youngsters, and then they would cut them up into pieces, and like let's say they would leave the heads in a certain city, and they'll go drop off the hands in another city. They'll go drop off their feet in another city. But they like those kids might be like those kids that you see at the park at night playing basketball or playing football, but they just want to catch some, like they want to get someone just to put in the work, you know.
Fuck,
That's how messed up they are.
that's proper serial
That's-
killer
yeah,
type
that's-
shit.
Yeah, so
like-
there's people there that like I have a friend well, had a friend, he's dead, but like when he got involved, like he would collect the ears of the people that he would execute, and he'd made himself a necklace of ears.
Oh my god.
They'd
that's
do that in
fucked up.
Vietnam, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I've seen that before, but I'm like, bro, why are you collecting that? He's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. He's like, it looks cool.
What? So he don't wear that in public? and shit,
No,
or
he's like,
Just
you're-
go
just
around,
like
just
in his
flexing the
house.
chain.
No, like so now when I'm talking to you, like you're working with the actual cartel in their territory. There's no government. There's no
Yeah.
like there is government, but you're running with your crew, 24/7. You sleep with them. You don't have a house. You don't have a life.
Yeah.
You're with them 24/7 to whatever the.
So is he repping that
Yeah, he was
ear
he
chain,
was carrying it and just like goofing around and saying, yeah.
That's
Huh?
fucked up.
Fucking hell.
So what,
Fuck.
how? Let's just progress a little bit. Like, what was the story of how you ended up in jail? Like, what? You seem like you were on such like a. You were
So-
smart about everything. How did you get caught?
So they killed my friend, the one that I was telling you about, the bald one, the one from Border
Mhm.
Brothers.
Yeah.
They killed him, and I remember it wasn't my business. Like I was working for the organization, but not in that area. So like they pick you from an area, and they send you to a different area that nobody knows you, because you can't be working in the same area where they know you, because then it's not good for whatever you're doing. So when I find out he gets killed, funny thing is, they killed him because of me, bro. We had a fight with some random dudes. This was before I even got involved in the organization, but you know, hanging around with your crew, you find some other people and you go at it. And we ended up like beating we ended up winning, but at the same time, like my homeboys got machete on one of them got a machete to blow to his head. Another one got cut. So we had that little what do you call it? We had
Beef
that
or
little
something.
that beef with that people. So time goes by, I come down from where I'm working, and I'm like, I'm gonna go chill with my brother. I wasn't working, We had done a job and it was hot in that area, so I decided, I'm like, you know what, let's go chill in where I'm from. I take the boys down to where I'm from. I go meet up with my homeboy, and then we're just driving around drinking some beers, and we run into these people, to the people that macheted us, and I'm like, hey, look, this is them. And we got off and we pistol whipped them, and we took their shit. And one of their parents, one of their dads came out, and he stuck his hand inside the car, and he had a machete in his other hand. He didn't know that the homeboy had a pistol, and he pulled out the pistol and shot him. Pop, pop, pop. That happened, and they get in contact with another cartel. That was because we were like on the borderline of like this area. From there, it's from a different cartel. So they go and they snitch me out with the rivals, and the rivals come and they start inquiring like, oh, who is this person, this and that, and they end up getting pointed to my homeboy's house. So they go to my homeboy's house and they tell him like, hey, where's Smiley, my nickname? He's like, I don't know, and even if I knew, like, I wouldn't tell you. And he turned around and they executed him
Fuck.
while he was carrying his son, bro. Like, he was carrying his son. He came out and he spoke to them. He's like, no, he doesn't live here. But even if I knew where he was, I wouldn't tell you guys. And he turned around and they executed him.
Fucking
It
hell.
was crazy.
So then you had to get back.
So when that happened, I called his boss, and his boss is like, I'll just find someone else to replace him. Like that, bro. And I was like, so what the? I'm like, bro, like, he's family. Like, he's my family. Like, you're supposed. Where's your loyalty towards him? Towards whatever he did for you guys? And he's like, don't worry about it. He's like, just find someone else to replace him. I was like, hell no. What do you mean, don't worry about it? So I tried to do something like in the moment of the heat, because I was nearby, and I had called him. Like, the funny thing was that I called him when I was going down, and I'm like, hey, can I go chill with you? Like, let's smoke a joint and drink a beer. I don't want to go partying, because they were inviting me to a party. And like, nah, go party. It's like, just chill. Like, don't worry about it. By this time, like, he already knew that there was problems with those people. He's like, there's a lot of government. Don't come. And I call him again. I call him 3 times, and I kept insisting, hey, let me kick it with you, bro. Like, let me go chill. I don't wanna go to the party. Like, I'll let the other guys that are with me. I'll let them distress themselves at the party, and I'll go chill with you. And he's like, nah. He's like, you're good. He's like, don't come. 5 minutes later, his wife calls me crying, and I can hear my homeboy going. He couldn't breathe. Like, his he was collapsing. But I just heard his wife like just yelling like, they've killed him. They've killed him. I was like, fuck. So that day, I make the phone call. The boss, his boss, basically, like, if he's nothing, like, says, just find someone else to replace him. I pick up a gun and I go to the guy's house, because I knew it came from that guy, the guy that we had shot. And I'm like, I'm gonna finish what we started. I jumped into his house, and I was looking through his window, bro, and he was with this. He was laying down, like, he had got shot in the stomach, and he had got shot in the ear, like the bullet uh,
Like grazed.
grazed his cheek and his ear. And he had his wife and 2 kids and a girl. And like, I was so angry that I was saying to myself, just go in there and execute everybody, like, fuck it, like, just kill everybody. I was like this close to just pushing in the door and executing his family, him, and making an example of them. But then again, I was thinking to myself, like, that ain't you. Like, why are you gonna do that? Like, why are you gonna kill these people? Maybe you should just wait and hunt the people that actually killed them. So I jump back out, and I go to the homeboys, and they're like, what? Why didn't you do anything? I'm like, it's not the way. Like, let's look for the people that actually did it. So yeah, I start finding the people that, like, I start investigating. We find out who set them up, who took them. There was a specific person that took the guys that killed them to his house, and this guy, the day before he took them, he went. He's like, hey, I'm gonna get a lot of money tomorrow. Can you like loan me? He asked for half a brick of cocaine and like 2 kilos of weed. He's like, I'll pay you in 2 days, because he knew that those 2 days, like, he was gonna be dead in the next 2 days. So I find him and I pick him up, and yeah, the boys executed him, and they cut him up into pieces.
Fucking hell.
So they get rid of him, and we obviously in Mexico it's very known to leave people with messages, like, to your rivals. Like, you'll leave them in broad daylight, and you'll put a big sheet with like a message for your rivals. And I left a message for them. even though I didn't have permission from my organization. I was doing it on my behalf. Like I didn't care if they weren't giving me permission or not. So I was still around that area. I was working. I was doing what I was doing in the city that I was sent to, but every time like I would do something there, I would come back down and look for people that were involved, and I was hunting to look for these people, and I had it was 6 of them, bro. There's 6 people that had to do in that killing. I took out the first one. I picked up 2 more, and I got caught with them. I got caught with them inside the car. So I get to this location and I have them tied up, and we were gonna take them out to the wild, like to the where there was no houses, and we were gonna work them. We say work when we're talking about like torture them and like, whatever we're gonna do with them. Get more information regarding the people that helped them. But one of them, he was tied, and he's like, hey, he's like, do me a favor. He's like, I know I'm gonna die, like, can I have a smoke? He wanted to smoke some weed, and I looked at him. I'm like, yeah. And I told one of the people that was with him, like, hey, go to the car and bring some weed for him and roll him up and give him something to smoke. If he's gonna die, let him die high. Bro, the guy goes and he goes to the car. He pulls out the weed, and there's a cop car coming into that into that same alley. It was an alley, and he panicked, bro. He opened the door and he turned around. He looked at the cops and he closed it and he left it half closed, and he just started walking. So the cops, they pull up and they look behind the car, and they looked at there's something being covered with like we had a bed sheet on top of the rifles, and we had rifles inside the car. So they opened the door because this dumbass didn't lock it. He left it half open. They opened the door and they lift up the thing. They see the rifles, and they start chasing my friend. And my friend, like, he wasn't my friend. He was my coworker, my partner. Instead of him trying to like book it out of where we had the actual people tied up, his dumbass ran right back into the house where we had them, and the house had no exit. It had no exit.
Fuck.
And like we hear that the cops are like the more cops are coming. They start speaking to us through the what is it called?
The radio?
The loudspeaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the top of the.
Yeah,
thing,
they start telling us to come out with our hands up high, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, and I'm like, untie them right now, and like we untied them and we hid like what we had, and as soon as we get pulled out, like they start just beating on us, like, get on the car. I don't know. I had a feeling that day when I got arrested, I was handcuffed. In Mexico, they're the cop, they drive trucks like a Ram, the Cheyenne Ram. So they don't put you in the back seat. They toss you into the floor, into the bed floor of the truck bed, and they'll be holding on to the bars, and they'll be stepping on your head like this. They'll be stepping on you, Fuck. And I remember I was on the bed floor and I was looking up at the sky, and I had a feeling. I was like, this is gonna be a long trip, because before that, I had got caught. We had done a mission. We didn't execute anybody, but we were trying to head back to a security house, and there was a checkpoint, and we I pulled over in the bike, but as soon as they tried to like speak to us, I booked it. I almost got away, but the bike slipped and I ended up falling, and they caught me with a 9mm and a stolen bike. Fuck. And I go to they arrest me, they take me, they torture me, because the government tortures you. They torture me for a bit, and like they wanted me to give them like the security houses, like who was I working for. I didn't say anything, but I did get tortured.
What did they do to you?
So they instead of them presenting you, like, how you get arrested here, they'll take you to the police station and they'll book you. In Mexico they have 24 hours to detain you without you getting booked. So those 24 hours they take you to a specific area where they have they have a basement underneath the ground, and it's just like they have dog cages, and they strip you naked. They tie you with the boxing wraps, the ones that Mexicans use, the white ones.
Yeah.
So they'll tie you up with those. They'll tie you up from the back and from your feet, and so you'll be like laying on your chest with your hands tied to your feet. Do you understand how I'm talking about?
Hogtied.
Hogtied.
Yeah, like you can't move.
Hogtied, and they'll blindfold you, and they'll start waterboarding you. They'll electrocute you. They'll there's a different type of torture where it's I don't know how it's called in English, but it's like a white powder that we use. it burns skin. So they'll do they'll put that white powder in a plastic bag, and they'll put you inside that plastic bag, and they'll let because you've been wet, you've been waterboarded, you've been electrocuted, so you're humid. As soon as your humidity touches that white powder, it'll start burning your skin.
Like acid almost.
It's like acid, but it's a different. It's crazy, bro. But I took it like a champ. I remember when they had me there, they're like, how do you want to do this? Do you want to do this the easy way, or do you want to do this the hard way? I'm like, we'll do it the hard way. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, just give it all you got. I was so ignorant to that was gonna get tortured. Like it was my first time running into Mexican government, so I didn't. I thought like, oh yeah, they can't do anything to me. Human rights, my ass. Yeah, as soon as we get there, they're like, take off his pants, and I'm like, what? Boom, damn. But I was intelligent. As soon as they started waterboarding me, like I would get air and I would start counting in my head. I'll start counting, and they would be punching me, trying to make me breathe, because what they want is they want you to suck in the bag so that you start suffocating yourself. And I would start counting in my head like the seconds that I was being held down, and as soon as I started getting to like 20, 25 seconds, I start going like a fish, start twerking so they would take off the waterboard and ask me, "Are you ready to talk?" And I'm like, "Nah, boom, boom," and then ready to go again. So I'd get my air and I'm just trying to make it out.
Okay.
But so I go through that part. I ended up getting booked. I go to the first to the hearing, the judge hearing. I was only there 3 days. The cartel paid for so that they can drop the charges, and I was free. I was free the next day, and they actually they're like, no, we give you props. Like a lot of people, they as soon as they start seeing that you're gonna get tortured, they start saying everything. Even the cops, like once they were done with me, once I was all fucked up, the correctional officer that was there, he's like, I gotta give it to you. He's like, I've only seen 2 people that come here, they've got tortured and they've got beaten, they don't say anything. And I'm like, can I have a cigarette, and can I have some of your drink? And he's like, here, yeah. He took the handcuffs off me, and he gave me a Coke bottle and a cigarette, and he turned it on, and I was drinking it, and I was smoking with my hand. And I remember there was another person in the other cage, because it's cages. It's not a cell. It's cage, like a dog cage. And he's like, I want one too. He's like, shut the fuck up. The cop's like, shut the fuck up, you fucking bitch. Because he started putting everything. Like he started telling everybody, like they I think he was there for rape, but basically he started confessing everything to the cops, and they didn't like him. But I saw one guy get raped inside there by the cops. They caught on his phone. He had a video of an execution of a cop, and while they were torturing him, he was telling them, like, you don't know who I am. Watch when I get out, I'm gonna kill you guys. This and that. And they pulled down his pants and they raped him with a broomstick.
Fucking hell, man. That's heavy.
So when they caught me the second time, the time that I'm telling you that I was looking at the sky and I was like, I think this is gonna be a long trip. They saw me and they're like, you again? Like, you think this is a 5-star hotel? Bro, they didn't take off my clothes this time. He crotch kicked me. Bah! He lifted me up like this much from the floor. I went, huh! And they put me straight into the room, and they started they busted one of my eardrums to this side. I can't hear very well on this side. They broke one of my ribs. They messed me up bad. They didn't want information. Like, we don't want information anymore. He's like, you're not getting out. That's what he told me. He's like, you're not getting out. And I was like,
they just wanted to batter you. They just wanted to really hurt you. Fucking hell, man.
Yeah.
Jesus
so they
Christ.
we got caught with weapons. In Mexico, you just pay a fine. You don't. It's a federal crime, but it's not that bad. So as soon as we get to the bookings, they book us in and everything. And I'm chilling. I'm like, don't worry. I'm telling the guys, I'm like, don't worry. Like, we'll be out in a minute. Like, it's not that bad. They come back and they're like, oh, you guys are leaving. We just need you guys to sign something. And we signed the papers thinking we were gonna leave, bro. And we get taken to court. And the judge starts reading. So you guys are being accused of murder in first degree. And everybody just starts looking. So you know the 2 guys that I was gonna kill? They were with us there too. They got accused for murder too, bro. They had nothing to do with it. That's how corrupt they are. So they started crying. They're like, we haven't done anything. Like they started panicking, and I was like, what the? So they were blaming us for the guy, the first guy. the one that got cut up, the one that told me that he had to do with my homeboys killing. They were blaming us. They were fabricating that on us. It was 4 of us, the 2 that we were gonna execute, and it was me and another guy. The other guy decided to talk. So they didn't have anything on us.
Yeah.
If he wouldn't have said anything, we would have probably left. But they scared him and they told him, if you don't help us, you're gonna stay there. So we want you to testify against them. So in his mind, he said, the 2 that we were gonna execute that had nothing to do with it. He's like, he was holding his hand and the other one was chopping off his head while I was basically, he invented the whole scenario, and they were using that to keep us there. So we were there for I was accused of murder in first degree. I spent 3 years in prison there.
Yeah. So about that experience, because that's something that I was quite interested to ask you about. So what was, obviously it's run by the cartel, the whole prison system where you were, and what was, I assume there was a lot of violence going on in there. So like, what was like something like that you saw that you were like, fuck, that's mad.
So the prison where I got sent to the first time, the time that I spent there, because I got transferred, but when I arrived there, I had personally taken drugs to that prison. I had taken like 5 kilos of marijuana, 2 kilos of cocaine. I had personally gone into the installations. like you go and knock on the front gate, and like they'll open it. Like, who you looking for? Oh, I'm looking for this person, like the person in charge. And they would let us walk in with the buckets full of drugs and just drop them off. They're so corrupt. Everything's corrupt there. But I knew that they worked for our organization. So as soon as I got there, like the director of the whole penitentiary, like he like, so you're the main head of the group that's coming with you. And he started trying to torture me. Like, he started trying to put my head into a container of water. And like, he's like, who are you working for? I'm like, what do you mean, who am I working for? Like, you know who I'm working for. So stop. Like, you can stop now. Like, I'm not gonna tell you who I'm working for, but you know damn well who I'm working for, because we paid, like, he was getting paid by the cartel. So I got special treatment. Like, even the correctional officers would respect me, because they knew I wasn't a drug dealer. I was a killer. Like, I was presented as a hitman. Like, they know that I'm not there to play games or anything.
Yeah, don't fuck with this guy. Yeah.
So you get special treatment. Like, we would interrogate people that would come in. Like, let's say you arrived there because they caught you with drugs. You might not have anything to do, but my job is to go into where they have you. Like, the correctional officers opens all the doors for us to go, interrogate you, take pictures of you, and send it to the outside people. And say, he arrived there for this, and this. He lives in this area. He says he's not working, but just keep an eye on him.
So they gave you like a job because of who you were. Yeah.
Everything in the prison works through information.
Yeah.
So the reason why you're in the circle that controls the prison is because you have to gain information from people that are coming in, because there's a lot of rivals coming in. There's a lot of people that are kidnapping that don't belong to a cartel, and like you interrogate them, you beat them up, you do what you have to do to get information, but that information is like, it's pure gold outside. Yeah. Because obviously you have the opportunity to interrogate someone under the protection of obviously the correctional officers, because they don't mess with you. They get killed, actually. They get killed outside. They get killed leaving from their house. Yeah. Correctional officers don't mess with you. Like, if you don't belong to the cartel, worry about them, because they'll put a beating on you. Like, they'll beat you up. They'll sometimes try to extortion you. But when you come with the cartel, they treat you like if you're a king. Like, they won't mess around with you. Like, you can do whatever you want, basically. Not whatever you want. Like, obviously you can't leave, but you get away with a lot of stuff, you know.
So like, you didn't see anything that mad at that point, but then you got transferred, right?
So no, in that prison, like, you would see people get beat up.
Okay.
But it wouldn't pass from someone just getting knocked unconscious, you know. At the end, the people that were running that prison, the people that were working for us, they ended up betraying our cartel, and they joined another one. I ended up abandoning the people that I was working for, so I ended up shying away from them, because they had put a lawyer, And then I was seeing that the lawyer wasn't working on my behalf. Like I saw that he was trying to make sure that I was gonna get sentenced. So I ended up just, you know what, I don't want to do anything with you guys. I don't need your help. I don't need your lawyer. I'll find a way to defend myself. And I got one of the ones that the government gives you. Well, and I actually made it out with him without paying a single
Better
penny,
call
bro.
Saul, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
your soul good.
But so we had a riot there in that prison, and the worst thing that I saw in that small prison was we killed 2 people in that riot.
So how did you kill it? Was it like a gunfight or?
No, it was just a hand fight.
Oh,
It was-
wow.
So
Fight to the
that
death.
prison was too small to be able to make shanks. There was nowhere to get the metal from. So it was basically hand to hand combat.
So the guards weren't bringing in weapons, no. So they
Nah,
bled
nah.
drugs up.
No,
and
as
whatnot,
soon as
like
as soon
that.
as things broke, like as soon as the riot started, the guards just booked it. They
Yeah.
they booked into their their
Yeah,
safe
yeah.
spots and they locked themselves in, and they was just watching how everything was just falling apart. Because the people that got the power, they started becoming very arrogant. Like you got like when you're in that position, like you got the opportunity to help people, you know. Obviously, if people are misconducting themselves, then yeah, you have the right to put order and to discipline. Because believe me, the correctional officers don't discipline there. You get disciplined by them, by the cartel. Because the cartel, they have everybody in check. So these people, they started they didn't even like me. I got my ass beat by them because they're like, we don't like you. Because I guess because people would respect me because I was a person that would respect everybody. I would get along with everybody. I'm not because I'm a cartel or I wouldn't care for that. I would even smoke, like I would even share my weed with my rivals, and we would start talking, and he'd be like, "Nah, I was hunting for you when I was outside." I'm like, "Well, you're lucky you didn't find me, bro, because I would have killed you." But like I would chill with them, and like I would understand that we were the same, bro. We're just pawns being used by the circumstances that we were living. We were poor. We wanted respect, and we wanted a way to gain that respect. So I ended up making friends with a lot of people that outside they wanted to kill me, and they ended up respecting me because they saw that I wasn't what they thought I was, you know. That I would share my like whatever small, because the government doesn't give you anything there. They don't give you soap. They don't give you toilet paper to wipe your ass. They don't even give you a uniform. You're in there with your boxers, and if they hand you like old clothes that other people have left when they leave, that's what you wear until your family brings you pairs like clothes. No hygiene. Like they're only in charge of giving you like a piece of cement where you can sleep, because you don't even get a bed, bro. There's no beds. It's just cement. Water to drink and 3 meals. That's all they're in charge of giving you. Other than that, you gotta scratch yourself with your own nails.
So less than the bare minimum.
Bro, it's like you see a lot of prostitution in there, like male prostitution, like
Fucking
guys that are good looking, like they'll look for someone that's gay, that has money and is living a pretty life just to become their husbands, and they can live a comfortable life.
Jesus.
It's messed up, bro. It's some messed up. It's some messed up stuff
Bro,
there.
we get prostituted instantly in Mexico, bro.
We would get bummed, seriously, man.
You know the 2 other guys, the ones that were with me in the same murder case, they became so like involved with gay guys, like they would have like they got married in there, bro. And I would tell them, and I would tell them, I'm like, you guys better stop with your home, your acts, like this is why we're not leaving. Like we're so cursed because you guys are doing all these like you know.
For fuck's sake.
What the?
So, well, are any? I just wanted to ask. So, obviously, you've got quite a lot of tattoos. So, are any of those like gang tattoos or tattoos you got in prison, or
I got gang tattoos and tattoos that I got in prison.
Okay, and are there any of those that you can show, or?
Well, the ones that I have here, I would need to take off my shirt.
Oh, okay, you don't have to do that. Is there any one like in specific that you kind of?
So this is a blue rag. I was a sureño, a southerner. So I don't know if you know Blood Crips.
Yeah.
So it's the same version for Mexican gangs. You got the North Siders are red, the South Siders are blue.
Okay.
So I'm a sureño. That's why I got this southerner. It's a female with the blue rag. And the rest, like I got the rest of more cartel.
Because is that the Angel of Death there?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
the Angel of Death. But
yeah, I've been seeing that.
But most of them, I got them in prison. Most of them, because you do jobs and you get like a lot of people say like how much did you pay for your sleeve? Nothing. I got it for free. I got it doing works. You
It's
know?
well done as well. It's not
Alright.
like a shit job.
No,
Ty.
it's
That's
actually
quality.
it's
yeah.
all right. I got an Aztec calendar right here.
Mate, that is a
Nice.
sick sleeve.
All done in prison.
All
That
done in
is
that
prison
whole
with
sleeve.
one
sleeve.
needle. With they make the
Proper
tattoos with the DVD player. You know they take that off a DVD
No way.
and they make it with a spoon and a pen, and then they use like it's a Shakira needle. They sharpen it to the point where it's like it's very thin, and that's a one needle job, bro.
That's
Fucking
talent,
hell.
right? there,
Mate,
to be able
yeah,
to do
where
that.
is this guy? Where is this guy?
We gotta
man?
go to
Out- yeah,
Mexico.
we gotta go to Mexico to get some tattoos.
So
man.
did you get transferred to max security? Like life
So
just went shit right
after that situation of these people being the oppressors, I got beat up, and then I basically told one of my homeboys, I'm like, so what are we gonna do? Like are we gonna sit here and allow them to do this to us, or are we're gonna do something? We kill people, bro. Like these guys, like the guys that were in charge, they had never done anything. They were accountants for the organization, so they were sentenced for other crimes, but they weren't. Like while they were in that position, they wanted everybody to look at them at the eye. Like they wanted people to like to show them respect, but they didn't. Like people weren't scared of them because they had never been that type of people. So I told them like, bro, we're killers. Like we'll kill them with our like. I really wanted to kill them with my own hands. I'm like I want to kill them with my own hands. But the riot happened, and we killed 2 of them, and the everything, like the whole prison went locked down. The anti-riot government comes and they take us. They point us out straight away. They're like, who's the one that started it? Him. I was like, damn. My hand was all busted, bro, and I got taken out. I was one of the first ones to be taken out, and they whoop your ass like if there's no tomorrow, bro. Like they took off all of our clothes, and they put us into a room, like probably like this room and the other room, like 60 people, butt naked, in a fetal position. All together, everybody just like some of the people were bleeding, and I remember I ended up next to one of my rivals, and he's like he starts telling me, he's like, you see what you caused? He's like, because of you, this guy's dead and this other guy's dead. I'm like, you're lucky I didn't kill you, motherfucker. I was looking for you. We got transferred. I got transferred to a maximum another penitentiary. It's a state prison. As soon as I got there, it's a different life, bro. I was in isolation for half a year.
Fuck.
Isolation is isolation there. Like you have no windows, you have no light. You don't even have a toilet. You just have a hole that you have to aim, and that's it.
Do they let you out at all?
No. You're there, bro. You have to like the space is probably like there's only one bed here, like one bed, and there's a bunk bed, and there's 4 people in there, and you got a space like from here to there. So it's like you need to make yourself do some exercise, or else as soon as, because they take you out every Friday at 12 at night, they take you out. They take you just to the phones, and I saw people like walking, and their legs would just give up on them, because you're just sitting down all day. You're like your legs are not doing any type of exercise. It was crazy, but like you like mentally, like they want to break you. They want to let you know that they're in control. I was just chilling, bro. I was having a fun time, like because like you like you were in there. I know, like I was in there, but you'd feel like a badass. Like, yeah, we're here because we started a riot over there, you know.
Yeah.
But
What like activities are you doing though? Like how are you spending 24
bro, you know
hours,
what they
like-
would do? They would start singing like so. There was it was a hall, and there was like it was 7 or 8 cells, and there was people from all over the state that they also committed their own heinous crimes, and they were there in isolation. So like at night, everybody would start just talking to each other. He's like, who's gonna sing? And then they would start singing over there. Like they would have their own jams, and it was just it was pretty cool. But there was people there of a lot of respect. Like there was people there that had been there for like 30 years, and they would get like they wouldn't get special treatment. Like people would come, and because they would only open the doors when they would drop your morning food, and when they would give you lunch. And people would go in and throw like big fizzy drinks, like 2-liter fizzy drinks, and food. And these guys, like the OGs, they would serve themselves a cup and they'd be like, "Hey, here you go, pass it down, pass it down." So they would share everything with you. And obviously I would speak to them, and like I would ask them for advice. I'm like, "You guys have been here for a long time. Like, what advice do you give me?" And they would tell me like, "Just stay humble, just stay humble. Like whatever you gain in here, just remember that to not forget where you're from, and to not like, because that's where you start, like, even like power, money, knowledge corrupts you, because then you start feeling that you're better than someone else, but you don't understand that when shit hits the fan, that person that you humiliated, that person's gonna be the one that's the first one that's gonna aim for your neck to make sure that you pay for what you've done.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, those 6 months were pretty, like, I enjoyed my time there. I was doing a lot of exercise in there. I was just being my, like, I was just like, I remember I just think like like I was scared, bro. Like, obviously anybody that's a gangster says I'm not scared. That's a lie. You need to be, you need that element of fear to be able to do what you do. But I was scared because I knew I had caused the damage to another cartel, and I knew that that cartel had people in this state penitentiary. Over there, it was a small prison, like for like 400. Here, it was the 15,000 of inmates.
Christ.
You have a city. It's a full city there, bro. So I knew that, like, I'm gonna get dealt with as soon as I step out. And I was scared because I would hear like the rest of the people that were with me, and they're like, "Oh no, yeah, I know this person, I know that person. Like, he's gonna help me out in case anything happens. Like, I'm gonna have backup." And I was there like, "Fuck, I'm a nobody here," because obviously I'm from a different, like, I'm from the States. I don't have any family members. I was there by myself, and I remember when they were gonna assign us to a specific dormitory. They send us to the hospital, and they make us line up, and you get there just to get certified that you're okay to get put into this location, because you could have cut yourself, you could have mentally been. So they just want to make sure that you're over your health, your mental health is fine, and then they'll put you in a different location. But while I was going there, like, I saw these two gangsters. Like, it was you've heard the gang in the LA called 18th Street.
No.
MS.
Yeah,
Mara
yeah,
Salvatrucha?
yeah. MS.
MS and 18 are sister gangs. So I saw two of them, like two MS. One had MS and one other had 18. They were all tatted, their face tatted. They look like gang. They were OGs, and they were like looking for someone, and they're like. And I remember I was like this, and I turned around and I looked at them, and I saw them asking another guy, "Hey, who's Smiley?" I was like, "Fuck, yeah, bro." And the guy's like, "Oh, he's over there." Like, the guy's like, "He's over there." And I turned around, they're like, "Hey, you're Smiley, homie?" I'm like, "Simone, I'm Smiley." I said, and but like I square up. I'm like, if I see anything goes down, I'm gonna have to fight. And they're like, "All right," and he goes like that. He's like, "We just want to say what's up. Like, we heard what you did back there." He pulls in, he puts his hand in his pocket, and a chunk of weed like that. He's like, "Here." He pulls out 500 pesos. He's like, "Here." It's like, "We respect what you did back there. We know we know you ain't got any family. You got us." So, like, most of the people that are, we call it, this is a term. It's called la banda. La banda is the lower, not the lower class, but the people that have been forgotten. People that don't have family, that they're there forgotten. But at the end of the day, like, they look after each other.
Mhm.
So yeah, they're like, "Don't worry, we got you." And things changed, bro. Like, I thought, like, the people that thought that they were gonna have backup, they ended up in the worst position. I ended up as a bodyguard for a crack cocaine cook.
In the
Walter
in-
White.
Huh?
Walter White.
No, that's meth. That's meth. I ended up like
That's
a.
meth.
Oh wait. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's meth.
Sorry. My
So
bad.
in this new location where they put us, like, they classify you, and they'll decide what dormitory you're gonna go to. But while I was there, I was there 2 months. While I was there, I wasn't with the rest of the crew that they would take them out in the mornings. They would have to go clean up the gutters, take the trash out. Like, they were there like janitors. Nah, me, I was set aside, and another person that didn't even know me, he came up to me. He's like, "Who's Smiley?" I'm like, "Fuck, why do they keep calling me?" He's like, "Where you from?" I'm like, "I'm from Guerrero." He's like, "I'm from Guerrero too." He's like, "You got any family?" I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "Get your stuff. You're coming with me." And he calls the officer. They open, and they take me to his cell, and his cell was like covered with curtains. And I'm looking at him, and he's like, he has his eyebrows done. He looks kind of like metrosexual, you know. And I look at him, I'm like, hey, like you better not try to fuck me, homie, because we're gonna have a problem here. He's like, calm down. He's like, nah. He's like, I'm a cook. He's like, I cook crack cocaine for the whole penitentiary. He's like, and I'm gonna help you out. You're gonna be my bodyguard. He gave me a shank like this big, and he's like, come on, let's go. I never ate prison food again. From that point, even when I was in maximum security, I never ate prison food. I think God has always taken care of me, but he basically he showed me the whole penitentiary, bro. While the guys that were saying while we were in isolation, oh yeah, my friends are gonna help me out, this and that, they were over there digging trenches. I was walking with the bosses, bro. I felt so good. I was like, damn.
Best case scenario.
Bro, like I was meeting everybody. I was going to, like, each dormitory has a leader, has someone in charge of like the drug selling in that dormitory, and we were going to the main boss's cribs, and he would introduce me. He's like, yeah, it's my boy, so he's my homeboy, and I'd be like, that's what's up, you know. And he showed me a lot. Like I would walk around with him. His name is Che. His nickname is Che. He's there for kidnap. He's serving a sentence of 120 years. He never gonna come out. And I would see him, like how people would like look for him to shake his hand. I'm like, bro, you're like the president. Like, what the hell? He's like, nah. He's like, just it's, everybody like, I'm really humble. Like he would like drug addicts would come up to him and be like, hey Che, you got a coin for me? And he would stick his hand inside his pocket and pull out a bunch of coins, and like all the drug addicts would line up and he'd start giving them here.
It's coming straight back to him, right there.
And you know what he would say? He would say like he's like, you know why I do this? I'm like, why? What's up? He's like, because when things go south, those guys are gonna be willing to lay their lives down for you. And that stuck with me, bro. Like I'm like, that's cool. So, and I've always, like, I think before I went to prison, I was a little bit arrogant, but prison humbled me in that scenario where I knew that I had to treat everybody the same, you know? Even if you were rich, poor, or drug addict or not, I would treat you with respect. But if you disrespected me, don't matter if you were the richest guy or I would deal with you straight away. But that's how I managed myself. And it got to the point where they start assigning, like, the crew that came with me from isolation to that new location. They pulled us out and they're like, you guys are gonna get assigned to your dormitories, and they start calling everybody out. I'm not getting called. And everybody left, and I'm still there standing by myself with all my stuff, and I'm like, where am I going? He's like, oh yeah, you're going to maximum security. I'm like, what the? I'm like, what? I go back, I run back to Che, and I'm like, hey, like go pay some money so I can stay here with you. Like they're trying to send me to maximum security. You'd only hear like nightmares of maximum security. Like, you know that the craziest of the craziest are there, and that people get killed in there, people get their hands broken in there. Like nobody wants to go in there. Everybody wants to stay outside. He goes down and he talks to the officer. He's like, hey, how much is it for him to stay? It's like, it's not from us. It's from upstairs, like from the main people. Shit. They're like, they showed me like my case, and like, he's too dangerous for general population. I was too dangerous for the general population. So I get sent to maximum, bro. They take me at night, and I'm shaking, bro. I'm literally shaking because I don't know what's gonna happen. And I get there, and I'm like sitting. I go into maximum security. They check me, and they lock the doors behind me. And the officer's like, you ain't never gonna step foot outside again. I go in, and they put me in the dining room, and I'm sitting there, and they're like, just hold up, they're gonna come talk to you. And I start hearing like footsteps coming down, and you start seeing like these big Samoan guys, like, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna get my ass whooped right now. I ain't trying to get my ass whooped. And they start interrogating me, like, say, what's your name? No, Smiley. Where are you from? No, I'm from this place. And he's like, are you the one that was mistreating everybody back in the other prison? I'm like, nah, I'm the one that fought against them. Like, all right. One of their boys, one of those big guys, he was with me in isolation. And he remembered my voice. He's like, you were with me in isolation, right? I'm like, yeah. I was like, nah, there's no problem with this guy. And he goes like, there's no problem with this guy. He's like, he's cool. So they sent me to a cell, and it was chill. It was really chill. The only problem was that 2 weeks later, all hell broke loose in there. They had their own problems boiling up. 14 people got murdered inside maximum security. The main boss got his head cut off. I got pictures on my phone and everything. If you guys want to see it after
I'll take a lot.
Yeah, fuck.
But as soon as I was gonna go to court that day, and I'm talking on the phone. I had a smartphone because working with Che, he would pay me, and I bought myself a phone, and I started getting my connects back to the people that I had outside. And I was on the phone and I just start hearing like ta ta ta, and I start seeing people run back and forth. And my cellie, he comes out of he runs up and he goes into his cell and he pulls out 2 knives, and he's like, here. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, what's going on? He's like, follow me. And I follow him, and as soon as I turn around, like as soon as we get to, there's 2 units like this. It's 2 stories. I was going towards the staircase to go down, and there was one of the first person that I saw dead. Like he had his throat slit and his stomach opened and his guts were outside, and he was laying on the stairs, and I had to jump over him, right? And I walk back and I walk around and I'm heading toward the other location, and you just see left and right people getting stabbed. There was the person that was in charge of that unit. He tried to extort me. I'm like, bro, I don't got any family. What do you want? Like, what do you want me to give you? I have nothing to give you. He was holding his neck like this. He's bleeding out, and he was asking for help. And he was just like, he was tumbling. And I saw him. I'm like, oh, this marker. Boom, kicked him, and I shanked him a couple times, and I kept running behind my friend. I was like, no, cause I was pissed at him, bro. I was like, fair. How the hell do you want to like extort me? I don't have anybody. But yeah, like when we got to the main location where like all the people that were in charge were there. They were there with their entourage, and everybody was like, that prison, you got knives, you got samurai swords, bro. I swear they got some big old machetes. Their people were upstairs, and the other people were downstairs, and they were arguing. Like, hey, like put down your weapons. We're not gonna do you guys. We're not gonna hurt you guys. We just want the main guy. They convinced them, right? And I'm there like just like I'm there like being a nosy guy. I don't even know what the hell's going on. I'm just watching. As soon as they start walking down, they're like, no, it's like we're gonna leave. They start walking. At the last person stepped down from that ladder. They were like dogs on top of them. They're just bad, bro. Like you got people with their brains splattered. Like they were just. It was savage, bro.
So they got them to stand down.
They got them to stand down.
Then
when they got down, they jumped on them. So they lied to them.
He had no weapons.
I would have rather died trying to fight with them, you know.
Yeah.
But they messed them up. We get to the main cell where this guy was. My cellie had a beef with him. Because obviously you're allowed to drink inside maximum security, and people get drunk and they start singing, they start blasting music. So the main boss, he had come and he had slapped him because he was being loud. But that's not the way to handle stuff, you know. You're speaking to another man that's also killed people, and you're gonna slap him. You're gonna try to humiliate him. Like he could have just told him, hey, put the volume down, bro. Like. But now he wanted to impose his authority, so he slapped him. So when he went to look for him specifically for him. He's like, you remember when you slapped me that day? And I'm like, oh crap, what's going on? And that guy was like, nah, just watch when the backup comes, because obviously he's paying the government, you know. So if anything happens, the government has to come and try to protect him because his organization is paying good money, and they're paying good money. They're probably paying the last time I knew. The commission to hold that penitentiary was like around £50,000 a month. Wow, that you have to pay the government to hold the institution, to have control over it. So they pay good money. He's like, just watch when they come back. Like we're gonna get you guys and this and that. And he's like, all right, we'll see right now. And he locked himself in. He had like a big old padlock on his cell so that they couldn't get in. And he had a big old machete. And he was just standing there like all pissed off. Watch what's gonna happen. And he's like, hey Smiley, go back to my room. I got a bottle of tinner. You know tinner?
I've heard of it.
What is it?
It's like they put it into paint.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so it's flammable. So he's like, go get that bottle and bring the bed sheets, like my bed sheets, everything that you can turn, like that you can flame. So I brought it, and he got a broom, and he put the bed sheets, and he wrapped them, and he soaked them, and he light them up, and he started throwing them inside the guy's cell, and they would just they smoked them out. So this guy, he burnt first, he passed out. They broke the padlock and they pulled him, and obviously my cellie, he grabs the guy's head and he starts.
Oh, fucking hell!
He takes off his head and he's like, "Come on, Smiley, let's go." And I'm walking behind them like, damn, these fools are crazy. We get to the basketball court and he's like, "You want to play basketball?"
Oh, nah, man.
Jesus, bro. Did it go in?
No. I tried picking it up, bro. It was heavy. I was like,
Shit,
Cause
man.
I wanted like but I wanted to like I wanted to also like but it wasn't my beef. And at the end of the day, like what if they do like I was thinking like what if they do forensics? They see the fingerprints, we're gonna get blamed. All that was going through my head. And I remember I tried to pick up his hand. It was heavy. I was like, hell no, let's kick them. Like, oh, get that out of here.
That is fucked up, though.
whacking
He's
top
carrying
bins, mate.
a dead body's head, and he goes for a Steph Curry.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that is fucked
The
up.
the,
bro.
the sound that head made, bro.
Oh shit! I bet.
Damn.
Like if you dropped a watermelon, but a hard one.
You know,
Man,
that
that's
sounds
fucked.
mad.
Yeah.
And obviously that would have. So is prison where you found Islam? Because right now
No,
you're.
no.
So is that where you
I'm
found that
still
here?
I'm still a long way from that, bro.
Okay.
But basically, I'm panicking because I came from a riot myself, and I knew that the government was gonna come and they were gonna beat the crap out of us, and I started panicking. I'm like, bro, they're gonna like the anti-riots are gonna come and they're gonna beat the crap. Like I don't want to get sent to another state. They're like, bro, you're in maximum security. They respect maximum security. I'm like, and I'm panicking where to stash my knife, and like the people that organized the riot, they called everybody to like help us get all the bodies to the entrance. So they dragged all the bodies to the entrance, they piled them up, and they started cleaning, right? Outside the maximum security walls, you could hear the military coming. They started marching. They started banging on the doors on the main entrance. Everybody was in the main entrance, like everybody. Even the old guy that was walking with the cane, he had his shank and he had his cane. He could barely hold his shank, but he was standing there, bro. And the military was like, everybody back to their cell. And the main guy's like, we ain't going anywhere. You guys are gonna come in. You guys are gonna take your trash, and we don't got a problem. If you guys come in, we're gonna kill it. We're gonna die here. And I'm like, they ain't gonna listen to him. I swear to God, they listened to him. They turned around, they left. The cops came, they took pictures, they picked up the bodies. Nobody paid for that massacre, bro. Nobody got dealt with. Nobody like even the correctional officers, they didn't even question who did it. Nothing, bro. Everybody just slipped. Like everything was the people that were in charge. Like obviously, once the main boss is done, like someone else comes up and he gets control of it, and he's like they saw me like we were 3 days without any because they were protesting outside because they got kidnapped. I got pictures of that too. I'll show them to you guys. That same riot where Maximum happened, the whole prison happened. Like the outside units had their own riot, but the correctional officers that were outside, they all got kidnapped, bro. They're laying down on the floor with their heads down, and you see the inmates with their knives holding them down. So they were protesting that they weren't getting paid enough to risk their lives.
No, yeah.
So the whole prison was left without any obviously surveillance. While that was happening, everybody was partying. They were having parties because like the rivals, the people that you've killed, they've left heroin, they left cocaine. That doesn't have to be paid anymore. That's not going to be paid to their people. So they started giving away cocaine, crystal meth, crack, and the main guy came up to my cell, and he looked at me and he looked at my cellie. He's like, "So you guys did a good job." I'm like, "All right," and he grabs like an ounce of cocaine. He's like, "Here." He tossed it to me. I'm like, "Oh, thanks." And he's like, "Oh, we'll be talking to you soon." He's like, "You got people?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "All right, we'll talk to you after everything calms down. We can probably do something with you." Yeah. I started getting a lot more reputation. I started getting a lot more power. I would wake up 3 cell phones, like 3 personal assistants, you could call that, with me, bro. I was putting in work from inside to the outside. I finished killing those 6 people from inside of prison. You know how I did it? These people were so
You finished what you started. So you didn't let that go. You're like, I'm gonna
no, because when my homeboy was getting buried, his casket was in the front, and it was only me and a 13-year-old boy that considered him as his father because he would look after him and provide for his food, provide for him to go to school. But like when my homeboy was alive, he like you had all like the town, like all the gangsters around him because he represented that culture. So everybody would want to be close to him. The day he died, it was only me and my homeboy, And that broke my heart, bro. I cried that day. I'm like, fucking A, man. And I remember like the little homie, his name's Porky. He's in the States right now. He's doing good.
Good.
But Porky he asked me, he's like, where's everybody? Like where are all those people that would call him family and friends? I'm like, just so you can realize that in life you don't got friends. You only got brothers, you know? And I promised to him, like I went up to his casket and I told him, like, I promise you, like whoever did this to you, I'm gonna get him. Whatever it costs me, I'm gonna take care of it. So the last person that I took care of, he had been a problem to get. He had already got shot by some other people that were trying to kill him. So he was out hiding. These new people, the ones that gave me the cocaine, this new organization, they were working with feds, like with feds. They're like, you got someone that can identify that person? I'm like, yeah. He's like, the feds are gonna raid his house, and we want you to send one of your boys to execute him inside the house with the feds with them. I call my homeboy. I'm like, hey, I need you to do this for me. He's like, yeah, what's gonna happen? I'm like, they're gonna pick you up. Just don't get scared, bro. It's gonna be feds. Like you're gonna see lights and everything. You're gonna see them. He's like, are you serious? Like, are you high? Or are you drunk or something? I'm like, I'm not kidding, bro. Just trust me. He's like, all right then. He goes. They pick him up. They raid the place, and he identifies them. He calls me. He's like, hey, I got him right here. I'm like, all right. Tell him that I say hi and execute him. And he's like, hey, Smiley sends his regards. Pow, 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 pow.
Did you do it live on the phone?
The feds dropped them off. The feds left. They did their work. They left. My homeboy calls me. He's like, who the hell are you connected to?
How much does that cost you, like, to set that up?
Nothing.
Respect.
Well, just through the people you know.
Just through the people that I was with.
Man.
Obviously I was putting in work for them as well. We were selling their drugs. I've always done this. Like I've told you guys at the beginning, I don't deal with drugs, but because of my reputation and my name, I had someone that would deal using my name.
Yeah.
You understand? So like I wasn't involved. I like whatever you make of whatever you're selling, that goes to you. I don't want anything. But I would help them out in that regard. They will have my loyalty, but at the same time, I would provide them with whatever they needed. But yeah, we did that, and I kept putting in work. I knew it was gonna be my time to leave because I always had that feeling in my head. Like I felt in my head the way that I went into prison, I went in without anything, not having a single dime, to the position where I was a boss inside prison. They would leave me messages outside the penitentiary with like 10 heads, and they would have like mantles with messages towards me and the rest of the crew. And like my homeboys would be like, damn bro, you're popular. Like how is it that they're mentioning you? I don't know.
Well, so there would be 10 decapitated heads, and then just
in the gates, and they would threaten us like, oh, we're waiting for your people. We're gonna kill them out here. I got to that position where I was well known, you know, and I knew I was gonna leave, bro. Like at that time, I became a worshiper of the Holy Death. Before I was an atheist. I didn't really believe in God. I was just like, yeah, you know. I started worshiping the death because obviously that was my environment. I was dealing with it, and that's the only thing we got for sure. The only thing that you got sure in this life is death. That you're gonna die. So I started worshiping death, and I remember that day I was going to my final court dates. I had like an altar for the death. I had a big old death, a devil, and other images, and I turned on a candle. Have you seen like the ornaments that they have like
like a shrine?
I had a shrine basically in my cell, and I turned on the candle. I'm like, well, it's up to you if I go or if I stay, and I went. To be honest, I was happy there, bro. I was happy. I could have stayed there, you know. Like I was making money. I was making more money than when I was outside. The connections that you gain, like the respect that you gain for being there. I didn't really want to go. I was like, what am I gonna go do outside? I have no cartel because I had no organization. Remember, I left the organization. This crew that I was with, they were from a different area, so it was gonna be hard for me to try to join their crew. And I knew I had a lot of enemies, so I went. They I jumped the. Do you remember the guy that I told you that snitched?
Yeah.
There's a specific story with him. He was one of the people that got spanked, right? Later on, I was with him, his brother, and another coworker. I get a call from their bosses, and they're like, you have them there?" I'm like, "Yeah." "All right, execute them and cut them up." They're with me. I ain't gonna do that. I'm not like that. I saved their life, and I ended up telling them like, "Hey, you like they're telling me to kill you guys for because you guys have been doing this and this and this." And they were kissing my ass like, "Nah, like if anything happens to you, we'll fight for you. We'll do this." And he ended up snitching on me, right? But because he snitched, I made it out, bro. Look how everything went. The only reason that I was in prison was because of his testimony, right? When I was in maximum security and I had all the connections, I had all the people, I sent people to his house, and I located his brother, and they picked him up, and I called and I talked to him. I'm like, do you remember that day that I saved you guys' life? He's like, yeah. Well, now it's time for you guys to pay me with the same coin. Your brother better not show up and testify against me, bro, or I'm gonna kill all your family and I'm gonna kill you guys. I wasn't gonna do that, but I was using psychological threats to make him budge, and he's like, nah. He's like, I'll speak to my brother. They let him go. 2 days later, before the court, 2 days before the court date, the last court date, he calls me. He's like, "Hey, my brother's disappeared. He's not gonna show up." I'm like, "All right, I'm trusting in you that he's not gonna show up." We go to court. No witness. No witness. No witness. Like the the prosecutors, like they had all these proofs, but there was no witness to back up their findings. So the judge was like, well, all this is just it's not concrete evidence, and I can't sentence them sentence them for this. So due to this, I acquit you guys, and you guys are set free. I didn't even believe it. I was like, what? Acquitted?
Yeah.
Acquitted? Like, you know what acquitted means?
Yeah.
Like
Everything
is
Yeah.
dropped. You got no charges, no history. And I'm heading back to the prison that I'm in.
Wait, sorry. So you made it out there without a criminal record?
That's why I'm here.
Fucking hell,
fucked.
mate.
Fair play. That is
So technically,
genuinely...
you were like wrongfully imprisoned.
Technically and technically not. But you know what I said to myself? I said to myself, if the guy I killed was innocent, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna get sentenced, and I'm gonna stay here, and I'm okay with that because I know what I
Yeah.
did. But if I was right that he had to do with the foul play with my brother, I'm gonna leave. And like people would ask me, why are you in prison? I'm here for murder. You ain't never coming. You ain't never gonna leave. And I would tell them like I didn't come here to stay. I came here to get smarter and to get to be someone. But I was heading back to my prison, and like in my mind I was like, you're free. Like I couldn't believe it. Like I'm actually gonna get set free. I get to my cell. I made a lot of good friends that to this day I talk to them. They're there, and they call me, and they say, "What's up?" Like they can't even believe I'm here. They're like, how are you in the UK? But I speak to them, and as soon as I got there, they're like, "What's up, Smiley? Are you gonna go or not?" I'm like, "Bro, I got my freedom." Damn, like we gotta celebrate. Like they brought some Johnny Walker Blue Label.
Yeah.
Like we gotta celebrate, bro. They got the cocaine out, and we were chilling, and I was like thinking to myself, like I felt sad because I'm like, bro, maybe tomorrow you're gonna see in the newspaper that they killed me outside. He's like, nah, don't think like that. You'll be okay. And yeah, it was 12 at night, and they still wouldn't let me go, and I was panicking, bro. I was like I don't think they're gonna let me go, because what they do is like they'll give you your freedom, you'll walk out, and they'll be waiting for you outside. And with another,
They
with
do
another,
that in the UK as
yeah.
well.
So I was like, oh, if that happens to me, it is what it is. But no, it didn't. I left. Some of the homeboys came and picked me up. I had no family, bro. I have two kids with I got married at the age of 17, but that marriage didn't last. And obviously, working for that in that lifestyle, you can't have them around. I had no family, nothing. So I got picked up and taken to my security house, the security house that I had for my boys. And my boys were there, and they're like, nah, it's good that you're out, this and that. And like, I was like, yeah, but like now what? What's next? And obviously, like, people knew that I was out. So they were hunting for me. I could see it, like, and there was movement left and right. And I kept going and speaking to people that were inviting me to work for them. And I would go speak to them, and like they would just talk, They wouldn't show me their power. Like they were just people that had connections to a good drug supply, but they had no connections to real toys, like to stuff that you need to survive. So I had like 5 meetings, and I wasn't convinced. I kept telling them, bro, like I'm coming out of prison for murder. I'm coming from like, I know that if I'm gonna do this, I need to do it right, and I need to gain the right support from the right people. Um, and I remember like I was speaking to my one of my close friends, and I was telling him like, if I go to this meeting and I don't get to an arrangement, we're leaving everything, bro. We're booking it. We're gonna go cool down in a different state, just chill, because we're gonna get killed here, bro. Like, we don't got any support. We don't got any, like, yeah, we got a couple of handguns, we got a couple of rifles, but that, like, another organization is looking to kill us, and if they catch us, they're gonna torture us. Um, and yeah, I spoke to him, and I'm like, I'm gonna go see these people. The connection was from inside the prison, so they contacted me. They're like, hey, this cartel wants to know if you want to work for them. I'm like, yeah, well, I'll meet them. My mind was like, oh, I'm gonna go meet some random guy that's gonna try to talk me into into to joining their organization. They send me to a specific place. I'm waiting there. I'm waiting there in a taxi, and I'm just chilling. I'm like, yeah, I wonder when this, like, 10 pickup trucks come, and they close the road. And you see military guys coming out, like, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I get off, and they're like, you Smiley? I'm like, Simon. Like, come on, get in the car. And they put me in, like, in the middle of two armed guys, and I'm like, oh crap, like, this is for real. And you hear the radio chat, like, I'm going to the main headquarters. They disappeared me for 3 weeks, bro. It took 3 weeks for me to meet the bosses. And when I met the bosses, I was only with them like for 2 hours. And they asked me, they're like, we've heard about you. We've heard that you have a good reputation. What do you need to start a movement in your area? I was like, well, I think I can do it with like 500,000 to pay off the people that I need to pay off, and to recruit more people. And obviously, I need people that are well trained, and are willing to fight. And he's like, yeah, he's like, this is a real organized, like, this is real organized crime. And yeah, he backed me up, and I started working for him. I worked for this organization for like a year and a half. And that year and a half, I was everywhere. I was fighting in different states. I was doing that. That was like my top. That was the top of the top.
So that was like your highest ranking ever.
Yeah, no, but I'm in charge of like 100 people. Like, you got people left and right. You got people calling you boss, and I would tell them like, hey, don't call me boss, bro. Just call me brother. Like, just call me bro. Carnal is brother in Spanish.
Mhm.
So I would tell them, just call me carnal. Don't call me boss. Cause there's a lot of kiss ass. There's a lot of people that want to kiss your ass. Oh, you want to, like, and I would tell them like, I want you to treat me the same, because when we get into a gunfight, I want you to be ready to die for me, because I'm gonna be ready to die for you. And I would show them, like, I would tell them like, I'm not like your boss that sends you to do a mission. I'm gonna go with you guys, and I'm gonna demonstrate to you guys that I can do it. So if I need you guys to do something for me, you guys don't question what I'm telling you guys to do. And yeah, I did. I it, wa- I came up like really really fast in that organization. Like, the bosses really liked me. They liked the way I worked. Um, I never lost anybody with me while I was working, and I got into tons of gunfights with government and non-government. Um, it went really well, but at the same time, that's when I started questioning everything, bro. Like, I knew I spoke English, I spoke Spanish, I knew that I was an intelligent being, and to lose my life for a cause that has no honor. Because at the end of the day, like, we gotta be real. I mean, like, there's no honor in killing people, in causing harm to your own society, because you're poisoning your own society. It's a cancer, basically. It's like these roadmen that inspire other younger generations to be like them. When at the end of the day, they ain't no gangsters, homie. Like, you live in a first world country where you can become a better part of society, and you want to pretend you live in the streets, like that you're really about the life. I'm not saying that there is, but at the same time, like, you got all the opportunities to better yourself. So why follow that route? And obviously, I come from a world where kids are swimming in the ocean, and they don't drown, because that's the lifestyle they live. But like, if I don't try to change, no one will take that. So I was struggling with myself, because I knew I was gonna die. I knew I was gonna die. Like, I kept getting into gunfights, and I myself was looking to die. Yeah? I was looking for that, because I was bottling up a lot of trauma that I had from when I was younger. I don't know if you guys know, but my own father raped my sister when I was young, and I had to go through that trauma of being the oldest and having your own father do that to your sister. It's That's why I stopped believing in God, because I would say to myself like, how where is God? Like,
Why is he letting that happen?
why did he let this happen?
What
my
would you
sister?
do if you saw your dad now?
I saw him. I saw him not too long ago.
Really? Well,
Um,
do you have a conversation or no?
I told him lions don't kill cockroaches. I ain't gonna kill you.
Cold quote. that, to
Fucking
be
hell.
fair.
Fair,
Yeah.
mate. That is a.
I told him like life will deal with you if you did it, because he says I didn't do it. The government says he did, and that was it. I met him because I went to see his sister. His sister basically brought me in. She's like a mother to me. So I went back and said my goodbyes before I came to the UK, and that's where I met him. So he had been in prison, and I met him there, and like he wanted to it was emotional, but at the same time I was thinking to myself like, it ain't worth it, bro. Why am I gonna curse myself killing my own father?
Do you think a younger you would have just
Fuck
popped
yeah,
one
bro.
straight on his head?
I would have made my like in my head I was thinking, if I ever run into my dad, I'm gonna murder him. I'm gonna make sure he pays for what he did. But obviously I was when I met him, I was a lot more
Mature.
More
I
mature.
guess, yeah.
So when I was in this life, when I was in that life, when at my highest peak, a lot of questions would come about afterlife. You know? I would ask myself like, yeah, I know that I'm not scared of dying, and I know that I want to die. But what is there to come after death? I can't. I think that I'm too intelligent to think that this is just all like we're just here, we're born, and that's it. Like, nah, there has to be a
100%.
reason for why we're here, no? And I said to myself, if I'm gonna die, and if I do have the courage to die for something that's honorable, it's not gonna be here. I'm not gonna die like a dog here. I'm gonna look for something better. And yeah, just one day, bro, I was up in the mountains, and I decided to, you know what, I'm done with this.
You had an epiphany, so you just.
Yeah,
were
yeah,
just like,
bro. It was more like, it was not an epiphany. I had a beef with another lieutenant, and they put us together and they sent us to a different location. And this lieutenant, like, I knew he had envy towards me because his people had more loyalty to me than to him. So he was playing weird with things, and he wanted to basically execute me. And that day when I saw that those were his intentions, I was saying to myself like, I should just kill him right here. But then again, like, if I kill him, my friend, like the homeboys that have my loyalty, like I'm gonna have to kill them, you know, because they obviously it was gonna be a mess. It was gonna be like, I was like, you know what, I'm done. So I was looking at the stars and I was thinking to myself like, what the heck, man? I've been here all my life in this lifestyle. I don't know what else to do. But I can't stay here. If I stay here, I'm gonna get killed by him, or I'm gonna get killed by the rivals. So I call like my most closest people to me, and I made sure to call people that were close to the bosses, and I took them back to my Jeep. I was driving a Wrangler, and I tell them like, hey, I'm done. They're like, what do you mean you're done? I'm gone, bro. If you guys want to tie me up and take me to the boss, you guys can go ahead. But I ain't doing this anymore. I'm done. And they looked at me and they're like, nah, you can go. Just don't come back.
you
And
had
like,
enough respect there that they were like.
bro,
you know
like
what?
some of them cried, bro. Like I swear, some of them shed tears that day, because they knew that I was the type of person that I would look after everybody. Like, I wouldn't just throw people underneath the bus. I'm not that type of person, and I think that's why I've had so much luck in my personal life. That God has been so merciful with me, that He's been taking care of me, like in all these scenarios. Because I look back in my life, and like even prison and being in maximum security, that was just not my only riot. There was like 3 more riots, but I got to see really, really messed up shit in there. So they tell me like, you're good, just leave everything. I start taking off my bulletproof vest with my magazines, and take them off. I leave. I only took my 9mm. I had a Glock 17 Austrian. That's the only thing I took. I took off everything, and I put it down. I'm like, I gave him a hug. I'm like, it was good meeting you guys. I'll see you guys around. We jumped in the truck, then just booked it, bro. I booked it because I knew that if the other lieutenant he sniffed out what was going on. He was gonna go after me. He actually did. I book it and I get to a security house. Um, the day, I booked it at night. It was daytime. And I was waiting to get a little bit of money so that I could start moving to try to move to a new location. One of my friends, one of the guys that I said goodbye to, he calls me. He's like, "Hey, wherever you're at, you better move because they know where you're at. Like they're coming right now." He gave me a heads up, and I just got my stuff, bro. You know what I did? I dyed my hair. I bleached it.
Blonde, yeah. Disguise.
I
Even the
ble-
beard too.
No,
Or
no, I
no?
didn't have a beard.
Oh, you didn't have a beard.
I bleached it. I've changed myself, and I'm like, I'm gone. I left, and I moved from one side of the country to the complete opposite. And yeah, it was hard, bro. It was hard for me because it's not normal. Like for me, it's like I wasn't accustomed to being around like normal people. For me, it was like it's all about respect, and if anybody disrespects me, I'm gonna handle my business there and then. So I started falling into depression. I started falling into depression because of obviously I was used to always having money, having women, having drugs, having something that was only keeping me happy, like in my how can I say this, in my worldly needs, but it wasn't like actually fulfilling anything inside of me. So I started falling depression. I started smoking meth, bro.
Fuck.
That's how low I and where I hit rock bottom was when I said to myself, "You were willing to die like a warrior over there, and now you're gonna come die like a drug addict? Are you serious?" And I was having like meth. I understand people that have meth addictions. It's something so difficult to come out, but that's where I found it. I found Islam in that dark place of my life. I wanted to take my life, bro. I was done. I was done with everything. Like I was living in a mini studio, no friends, no family, nobody, bro. I was just waking up, going to work, and making my way back home, and buying meth. And I was just falling into depression, Um, and one day I had enough. I just had enough, bro. I couldn't no more, and I said, I'm done, man. I don't want this no more. I started making my robe. I started looking where to hang myself from. In prison, you see people hang themselves like from the doorknob. From the doorknob. When you want to die,
Yeah,
you
make it work.
You make it work. You know what they do? They put themselves like really tight, and then they sit themselves, like they let their body weight just.
Yeah, just break their neck.
They'll just jump down.
Oh.
So when you want to die, you want to die. Like those people that say, "Oh, I'm gonna kill myself," they just want attention. I've seen people that when they want to die, you die. You find the perfect like. I heard the other day I was talking to someone that's been in prison here in the UK. He's telling me that some guy was trying to choke himself with tea bags. He was like trying to commit suicide with those tea bags.
Yeah.
He was stuffing them into his throat to try and choke himself. But I was trying to kill myself that day, and a part of me was telling me like, you haven't really done anything good for society. You've only caused harm, and to be honest, I have, bro. I've taken a lot of kids from their moms. You can call it that way. I've taken a lot of fathers. I've killed a lot of people, and I know that like I did that consciously. I didn't like I wasn't forced to. I did that willingly, and everything was like everything that I had locked in was starting to come out. Yeah, like it was a hard moment because obviously I wanted an exit of the life that I had that in that moment, but at the same time another part of me was saying like, bro, you never gave up. You've never given up. Even when you were in prison by yourself, even when you've been by yourself, you have no family in Mexico, and look how far you've come from where you started. Like, why are you gonna give up right now that things are difficult? And I said to myself like, I ain't gonna hang myself today. I sat on my bed and I started crying, bro. I started crying like crazy. I think I've never cried that much like that day. I just was letting everything out. And I didn't make a prayer. I sat on my bed and I closed my. Did I close my eyes? I think I closed my eyes and I'm like, if you really exist and you're out there, and you see in the position that I'm in, I'm done. Like I need something. I need you to guide me to something that is true because I can't no more. I can't. And I fell asleep. But before I fell asleep, I had a laptop and I put music to relax relax. Yeah, music to relax yourself, like to fall asleep, and a Quran recitation popped up. I'm like, what is this? And I clicked on it, and I started hearing the Quran recitating, and it felt like I felt like it felt like it comforted me, and I was guided to Islam, bro, by myself. Like I by myself did my own research, and I by myself accepted Islam before like nobody came and spoke to me about Islam. Like I learned about it, and I fell in love with the religion. I fell in love with the monotheistic view of God and all that. And yeah,
I'm happy for you.
That's-
man.
Yeah,
how I ended
yeah,
up.
no, that's
You've
that-
really
you
had a
asked for
mad
sign,
life. You've
and
had
you
a-
got it straight away.
You've had a crazy life, and you've came out of it
Yeah,
a real winner, really.
it's been a hard road, bro. It's been a hard
Yeah,
road. It's
sure.
even like I think when I accepted Islam, things went south even more. You know, I accepted Islam. I lost my job. My accounts were blocked by the government because I was associated with organized crime and money laundering. And I couldn't work anymore. I couldn't do anything. Uh, just things like I wouldn't have any money, and I would get calls like from people that I've worked before or people that knew me. They're like, "Hey, come do this job. We're gonna pay you this amount of money. It's easy. Just come, kill the guy, and then leave." And like I would have those temptations, coming up all the time. Like, fuck, like man, like a part of me was saying like you can go and just do it real quick and come back, but then another part of me was saying like God gave you the opportunity to leave that life. If you go back to it, it's like spitting in. It's like spitting in the blessing that He's giving you, And believe me, you ain't coming back. Like I fear God, and I know that if I would ever join that life again, there's no way. There's no way I'm coming back out alive, But yeah, that's how I ended up here. I ended up here because of Islam.
So like this is a mad one. Like when in the UK, people are quite like, irrational, and they won't think. Have you ever had people like try fuck with you in the UK while you've entered this new like state? But surely you get like a thing from going like, you don't know who the fuck I am. Like surely people must have fucked with you in the UK, and you've had to just like channel like peace, right?
I almost got into a fight in Asda, bro.
Yeah, that's
got
what I'm
to
saying.
fight.
That's what I'm saying. In the UK, people are just about it for no reason.
Yeah,
like,
it was funny. It was just because regarding it was like a parking incident.
yeah,
But the guy was like, he started cussing at me, and he's like, I'm like, bro, get off your car and we'll handle our business right now. And he got off, and like he thought he was gonna intimidate me, and I take off my shirt, and I'm like, let's go. And he's like, oh, all right. Goes back in his car. Like,
yeah. So nothing
nah,
too
nothing.
crazy.
Yeah, I've had problems with other with certain individuals, even in Islam, like with other Muslim people. I don't know. They envy people that are real. Like I've met a lot of wannabes that are like they have knowledge about Islam and they're Muslims, and may Allah bless them. But at the end of the day, they're only wannabes.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. They haven't been in that lifestyle. They haven't walked in that lifestyle, and they wanna try to treat me less because I have no knowledge. I don't consider myself someone with a lot of knowledge about Islam, but like I can speak to my people, like people that are like me, people that are in prison, and they'll listen to me because they know we when we were in prison, like you would get like Christians, you would get Jehovah Witness would come and try to talk to you, and we would tell them when you walk when you walked in the same footsteps that I walked, then come talk to me, because you haven't worn my shoes. You don't know what it means to go to sleep hungry, to be poor, to be humiliated. You don't know what it is to live the lifestyle that I've lived. When you come from that lifestyle, then come talk to me about religion. And now that I came from that lifestyle, bro, I have no excuse to tell my homeboys, you know what, there is a better path, and it's like you have to do it in a certain way, I understand, like I respect if they decide not to, but I have to, like I have to inform them about like look how I changed, like my life completely from the person that like even they don't believe me sometimes. Like sometimes when I'm talking to them, they're like, damn man, like you were a completely different person from how we interact nowadays. And I got respect from them and from people, like even to this day with organizations, like we're speaking about Arab, we're speaking about other people, like I have the ability to speak to call them and say what's up, like we want to do something, and they'll give me the attention because of the person that I am. But yeah, it's a cool, like I enjoy the person that I am nowadays, and I
Yeah,
wouldn't change anything.
good.
I wouldn't change anything regarding even the incident that I suffered when I was young with my whole family. I think that it was all it was a part of the plan, you know.
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything
does.
happens for a reason.
It does.
Sometimes we don't have the understanding to understand that it's for our best that these things happened. And when I became a Muslim and I turned back in my life and I started seeing all these like small little things, I understand. I'm like, oh, okay.
There's I was speaking to my barber who's he studies Islam and the Quran, and there's a quote in that says like it's something like similar to everything happens for a reason, but it's stopping you from something worse.
Yeah.
You know, like that thing that's happened is something worse would have happened if it didn't.
There's always a reason why things happen. Like even with my
Yeah.
friends, with the friends that I have nowadays, they're back home, like now they were Satan worshippers basically, and now they left that life behind. They're obviously they're still doing their thing, but they're more centered in trying to become better people. You know.
Yeah, you're
Um,
trying to stick to some moral cause. One last question for you, and then we'll wrap it up. Where's the nickname Smiley? I've been dying to
Yeah.
ask that. I'm
So
sure
when
everyone
I got
wants to
jumped
know.
into the gang,
Yeah.
as soon as they finished beating me up, I was smiling. And
That's
they're
cold.
like, "Are you gonna be called Smiley?"
Yeah,
That's
mad.
cold.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Ali.
Honestly, yeah. If you don't like this episode, guys, then
Yeah.
you've got something wrong with you, because this has been a banger. I've loved it.
Genuinely, this is topped everything that like just speaking to you and hearing your story was just incredible. So thank you so much for
You're welcome.
coming
Thank you
on.
guys for
Coming
inviting
on,
me.
man. No problem. Enjoy, guys.
We'll
See
see you
later
guys
in
on the next one.